Welcome to the glorious Empire of Bavaria, a land of beauty and history. Today, the entire kingdom gathers for a momentous occasion. A new ruler is about to be crowned. The 11th emperor will soon ascend the throne. And here she is, Her Highness Reina, the supposed hope of Bavaria. She looks absolutely radiant, doesn't she? Today, she will lead this land into a new era of glory. With a powerful voice, our girl begins her oath. She swears to use her life and honor to protect her people. The crowd cheers, but not everyone is celebrating. Some whisper in fear, hoping there won't be any more sacrifices. But you don't talk smack about this queen in public, because everyone knows the rumors. They say she's a monster who bathed in blood for power, a woman whose hands are stained with the blood of her own father. And from her throne, our new queen just smirks. She knows exactly what they think of her. She stands tall, vowing to lead her empire to prosperity. After the ceremony, she storms into her chambers. With an icy glare, she dismisses her maids. She just wants to be alone. Or so she thinks. She whips around, ready to chew someone out. But her face instantly softens when she sees who it is. It's her adorable little sister, Caroline. Reina teases her for missing the big event. Caroline rushes over, full of apologies. She asks Reina if she really cares so little for the symbols of power. Our girl just scoffs, handing over the royal scepter. Compared to our family, she says, these things mean nothing. She pulls her sister into a tight hug and promises that now no one will ever dare bully them again. They sit and talk, just two sisters sharing a quiet moment. Caroline mentions she's painting their secret garden. Renee's eyes gleam with a new dream. She wants to create a world full of peace and love. But Caroline's expression turns dark. Was it true, she asks, that you killed father? Reina doesn't even flinch, so what if I did? She snaps, explaining their father was going to give the throne to a useless fool. If she hadn't killed him, everyone loyal to her would have died. But Caroline isn't listening. Through her tears, she accuses Reina of imprisoning the man she loves, Lord Mason. Renee's eyes flash with fury. Who told you that? I'll kill them. Caroline presses her, demanding the truth. And Renee, who never lies to her sister, admits it. That's when Caroline completely shatters. She screams, her words laced with venom. How can you be so inhuman? How could I have a sister like you? Reina trembles, trying to explain she did it all to protect them. But Caroline just screams back, you call this protection? Our girl has had enough. She calls for the guards to take her sister away to rest. She just needs to calm down. But Caroline completely loses it, accusing her of only caring about power. As Reina turns to leave, she feels a tug and sees her sister holding a dagger. A sister. In one swift, brutal motion, Caroline plunges the blade into Renee's side. Absolute shock. Our poor heroine looks up, her eyes wide with betrayal. She collapses to the floor, her last thought a question. Was this really her timid little sister, and who gave her that dagger? The maids scream in horror. The new queen is bleeding out on the floor. Caroline stares at the blood on her hands as if waking from a nightmare. What did I just do? She cradles her dying sister, begging to know who made her do this. But she wasn't alone. A mysterious man in white boots steps into the room. And the look on Caroline's face says it all. She's terrified of him. Our girl Reina is having a very bad day. She screams at her knight Max and her snake of a sister, Caroline. The whole court is watching this humiliating scene unfold. Max just looks disappointed. The proud Princess Reina has been brought to her knees. She roars that he betrayed her after everything she promised him. But Max coldly tells her she can't be empress with blood on her hands. He offers her a choice, step down or face the gallows. Then he pulls her sister Caroline into a protective embrace, the ultimate betrayal. He claims that sweet, kind Caroline will understand. But another man's voice echoes, vowing to support Caroline. Reina won't let them succeed. Max calls for the guards to take her away. But the servants don't move a muscle. He grips his sword, a smug look on his face. He reveals the entire palace is already under his control. Suddenly, a sharp pain, our girl has been stabbed from behind. Blood splatters across her beautiful dress. She looks down in utter disbelief. As her life fades, a system notification pops up. Caroline has completed her S-rank mission, Kill the Empress. Reina wakes up in a void, completely lost. She wonders what in the world is going on. Wasn't she just murdered at her own coronation? She hears the system voice again, talking about a mission to kill me. Favorability, charm index, none of this makes any sense. Then it clicks, Caroline and Max weren't just allies, they were players in a game. A blinding light envelops her. She wakes up in a familiar room. It's her old bedroom and she is very much alive. She panics, how is this possible? She recognizes this place, the cold palace. Just then a maid bursts in. The maid screams that Princess Caroline and Prince Landon fell into the lake. Wait a minute, this exact thing happened on Caroline's 15th birthday. This means she's been reborn. The maid begs her to hurry and help. Our girl springs into action, her mind racing. She needs to confirm something about Caroline, that system voice. If her sister has truly been possessed by someone else, then she'll just have to kill her first this time around. and she'll be sure not to make it so obvious. A savage smile spreads across her face. She sprints out of the palace towards the lake. Not a moment to lose. The other servants are in a panic. The guards are nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a maid gasps. Reina dives headfirst into the freezing water. The maids scream her name in horror. She remembers her first life. She saved Caroline first. But in her focus on her sister, she forgot all about Prince Landon. He was left to drown while she comforted Caroline. It was a simple, tragic mistake, but Landon never forgave her for it, and his grudge ruined her reputation. Her father punished her severely for her negligence, all because she couldn't save them both. Well, not this time. She grabs a heavy rock from the bottom of the lake. She's taking a gamble to change her fate. But as she approaches, Caroline's eyes snap open. The girl starts panicking, yelling at some invisible system. This was supposed to be a supporting character's counterattack. She shrieks, "Why am I dying?" The fake Caroline is drowning, screaming for someone to help her. Our poor girl is drowning, but her priorities are straight. She's not about to die before she's conquered all the hotties. Suddenly, a beginner protection skill activates. She drags the other girl, Reina, to the surface. She checks on her unconscious sister with a very suspicious look. Finally able to breathe, she gasps for air. She pulls them both out of the pool, admiring Reina's heroine hair. Ah yes, the classic golden locks of a main character. But as Reina lies there, our girl's expression turns cold. "Everything that belongs to you, I'm taking it all." Just then, the guards and maids come running. Our girl immediately starts her Oscar-worthy performance. "It is my greatest honor to save my dear sister," she says with a saintly smile. But Reina wakes up screaming that someone else is still in the water. Our girl puts on a show of comforting her. A knight dives in to rescue the poor soul. Later, the emperor is absolutely furious with our girl, Caroline. He screams that he's disappointed in her. Caroline tries to explain that the boy insulted her mother first. But Reina, the ever-perfect heroine, takes all the blame. The emperor immediately fusses over a tiny scratch on Reina's hand. He praises her for being so mature and agrees to let her go pray. Caroline clings to her, playing the weak, scared little sister. "Sister, don't go, don't leave me." Reina asks to stay, but the emperor has already decided. She then looks at Caroline, asking if she'll stay for her this time. "You need to learn to face things on your own," Reina tells her, completely shutting her down. Caroline is stunned, her manipulation failed. And we get a glimpse into their true thoughts. A battle of wills is brewing. Because our real girl is Reina the regressor, she knows this sister is an impostor. The two of them stand together, a perfect picture of fake family harmony. Reina thinks this time it's just the beginning. She bows, accepting her trip to the temple. Just then, footsteps approach. A handsome man with silver hair arrives. Reina looks up, her eyes wide with shock. She knows this man, it's Mason. He's a priest looking absolutely divine. He's here to deliver documents for the upcoming blessing ritual. The emperor chats with him, but Reina can't look away. She's completely frozen, staring at him. Mason announces it's time for the princesses to prepare for the ritual. This ceremony is critical, only those blessed by the gods can rule. This is Reina's chance to claim her rightful place as empress. In her past life, she was locked away and missed this ritual entirely. The gods gave her no blessing, so when she took power, she destroyed the temple. And she imprisoned the priests, including Mason, the man who, before all of this, was once her fiancé. The memory is still so painful. Back in the present, she's filled with a storm of emotions. She lifts her head, her gaze determined, and their eyes meet across the room. His voice echoes in her mind, telling her he's seen the real her. He says she was never a witch, she was just trying to protect herself. "So don't cry," he whispers, and our girl finally looks up. It's Mason, and he tells her to walk forward and never look back. The memory fades, and she's back in the throne room facing her father. Her mind is a whirlwind, flashing back to her previous life. She remembers everything she did to Mason to break the temple's power. She ruined him, but even in the end, he was the only one who cared for her. Back in the present, she tries to create distance. "Mason, I'll stay away from you." She says he's busy and she'll head to the temple on her own. But her scheming sister Caroline swoops in, inviting Mason to stay for lunch. She lays on the charm, saying how much she's missed him. Reina just has to stand there and watch this absolute train wreck. But Mason shuts her down cold. "The temple still needs me." Caroline is fuming internally, thinking he's the hardest to conquer, but she vows he'll bow to her eventually. As Reina turns to leave, a hand suddenly grabs her arm. She looks back, shocked to see it's Mason. Our poor heroine is a flustered mess, and Mason. He asks her point blank why she was crying when she saw him. She plays it off, claiming the wind blew something in her eye. Then she goes on the offensive. "Don't tell me you're heartbroken over our broken engagement." He flatly denies joining the temple to escape her. She tells him they shouldn't be so familiar with each other anymore. "It'll ruin my chances of marrying someone else," she says with a fake smile. And with that final, savage remark, she walks away, leaving him stunned. He just watches her go, completely speechless. The emperor is watching this whole exchange, thinking Mason really has given up on his daughter. Suddenly, Caroline is by his side. "Father, why are you still here?" She puts on her sweetest smile. She heard he has headaches and learned a special massage technique just for him. This is it, her big move to become the most beloved princess, just like in the novel. The emperor agrees, and Caroline gives a wicked little smirk. She gets to work, charming her way into his good graces. She thinks to herself, "I just have to get ahead this time." Afterwards, she gets the notification, Emperor favorability +10. She also gets a boost to her personal charm and a random item. She thanks the maids sweetly, playing the part of the perfect princess. The maids are totally eating it up, gushing about how graceful and charming she's become. Her reward is revealed, a one-time magical eraser. It can erase one unknown trait from a designated person. This is huge. An evil idea starts to form, a trait Reina hasn't displayed yet. With the divine blessing ritual coming up, this is fate. Reina, don't blame me. She holds the magical item ready to strike. System, target Reina, she commands with a terrifying grin. Her goal, to erase the trait of being blessed by the gods as the heroine. The system confirms and the magic unleashes. Caroline is triumphant. From now on, there will only be one heaven's chosen daughter her. Meanwhile, our clueless heroine is in the library. She remembers reading about the blessing ritual in a book from her past life. She finds the ancient text, desperate for answers. But as she holds it, a sharp pain hits her. Her heart pounds in her chest. Why is this happening again? She clutches her dress, trying to breathe through the sudden agony. Her eyes fall on a specific passage in the book. It says those who stay close to a God-blessed person will be tainted by their divine aura. She reels back, that can't be right. In the past, Caroline was the one who made the statue shine, not her. A horrifying thought crosses her mind. Does the book mean they need to be even more intimate? She stands there, paralyzed by this new revelation. Just then, a maid rushes in, calling her name. "Did watching Caroline from the shadows give you anything useful?" The maid asks. "Oh, you have no idea." The terrified maid spills everything she knows. Our girl is all smiles, saying it depends on her performance. The maid saw Princess Caroline talking to thin air. Reina leans in, asking what happened next. A strange object appeared and then vanished from her hand, just like magic. Then Caroline whispered, "Reina, don't blame me." Reina's eyes widen in realization. The maid swears it's the absolute truth. Satisfied, Reina dismisses her, promising to keep her secret. The maid bows and quickly leaves. It's clear now something has taken over Caroline's body. Something that can even use magic. She decides to run a little test tonight. Later that night, as Caroline sleeps soundly, our girl's eyes snap open, showtime. She creeps over to Caroline, who wakes up startled. Before Caroline can even speak, Reina slaps a hand over her mouth. With a terrifying look, she whispers, kill them all." Caroline panics, desperately calling for her system. She struggles, muffled screams for help filling the room. Reina pins her down, fully committed to the chaotic act. But the system announces that beginner protection has ended. Terrible timing. Reina grabs a nearby vase, chanting "kill" like a madwoman. Seeing her life flash before her eyes, Caroline begs her system for a loan. "Take all my charm points, just save me from this lunatic." Reina is about to get the info she needs when the door is thrown open. Busted. She internally seethes, so close, who is this guy who won't leave her alone? It's Lord Mason. Caroline immediately starts crying for help. "She's trying to kill me," she screams. Reina drops the vase and faints dramatically. "Kill, there's a bad person," she mutters, putting on the performance of a lifetime. The maids rush in, absolutely horrified. For added effect, she bites her own hand until it bleeds. This girl is a pro. Mason rushes to her side, cradling her face. Caroline points at the blood, but Mason just shushes her. "Don't startle her," he says calmly, leaving Caroline speechless. She tries again, insisting Reina tried to kill her. Mason asks a maid if this has happened before. She confirms Reina sometimes wanders at night. He quickly diagnoses it as sleepwalking. "You all leave," he commands. "I'll check her condition." The maids and a very suspicious Caroline are ushered out. Reina keeps up the act, whispering about a bad person. She wonders what on earth he's planning to do now. And then he drops the bomb. "Reina, stop pretending." Our girl's blood runs cold. He figured it out. Her mind is spinning. How did he see through her perfect act? "Reina," he says with a sigh, "you've gone too far this time." She's been caught, utterly and completely busted. Our girl is deep in her acting role, pretending to be sleepwalking. She starts unbuttoning her dress, muttering about being sleepy. And look at our holy boy Mason, he is completely scandalized. He stammers out her name, his entire face turning beet red. But our chaotic heroine just keeps up the act. She finally passes out right onto the bed. He gently tucks her in before making a swift exit. The moment the door clicks shut, her eyes snap open. She scoffs, thinking he's way too naive to get flustered that easily. But outside, Mason knows exactly what just happened. That wasn't sleepwalking. Suddenly, her sister Caroline appears, asking if he doubts her. She puts on a masterclass in fake panic. But inside, she's spiraling. This sleepwalking attack was not in the novel. This is bad for her image, so she quickly goes into damage control. She begs Mason not to tell their father for Reina's sake. She even silences the maids, ensuring there are no witnesses. This whole situation is getting neatly swept under the rug. Mason gives a pleasant smile that doesn't reach his eyes. He agrees to pretend he saw absolutely nothing tonight. But as he walks away, his mind is racing. Caroline was desperate to cover this up. She didn't even suggest getting treatment for her sleepwalking sister. Shady. The next morning, our girl is all packed for her trip to the temple. But not before one last savage confrontation. Sister, did you try to kill me? Caroline absolutely loses it, playing the part of the shocked, innocent sibling. Then our girl just laughs it off, saying she was kidding, the audacity. She even pats her chest, pretending to be relieved. Caroline totally buys it, concluding Reina really doesn't remember a thing. So she sends her off with fake well wishes. Reina waves goodbye, looking every bit the sweet, departing sister. Caroline feels a bit of relief. The plot is changing, but this is convenient. With Reina out of the picture, the stage is clear for her. She knows the male lead's loyal knight is supposed to show up soon. But our girl has other plans. This time, she's stealing that knight for herself. Her carriage rolls away from the estate, taking her toward a new fate. She finally arrives at the Grand Temple. It's time for phase 2 of her master plan. She gazes at the divine statue, remembering how she had it smashed in her past life. This time, she's going to play the part of a devout believer. The head priest immediately notices her intense gaze. She quickly explains she was just mesmerized by its magnificence. A perfect performance of a pious young lady. The priest smiles, completely fooled by her act. She then asks if she can receive the god's blessing. But when he says she doesn't need to, she asks if it can be changed. The priest is firm, stating that such things cannot be altered. He explains that a monarch's favor from the gods is determined at birth. Reina bows her head, accepting his words with grace. The priest smiles, thinking what a good, devout child she is. Our girl Reina declares she never needed the god's blessing anyway. As long as she can fool the statue, she's golden. She gets to her room, ready to enact her genius plan. Everything she needs is in this little suitcase. Her plan is to borrow the aura from someone who is blessed. But a sudden knock at the door throws a wrench in her schemes. She cautiously tells them to come in. And of course, it's Priest Mason, the one man she's trying to avoid. Our girl immediately panics, thinking he's here to confront her about last night. She tries to play it cool, asking what he wants. She even reminds him they're supposed to be staying away from each other, but then he shuts the door behind him. Okay, red alert, is he here to silence her for good? She internally freaks out, thinking the worst. He cuts right to the chase, asking if she remembers last night. Our girl is totally confused. Everyone has been acting so weird. A strange memory flashes in her mind. Then out of nowhere, he apologizes. She's completely stunned into silence. He mentions that even if she doesn't remember because of sleepwalking, he's the one who overstepped his bounds and he's sorry. Wait, he's apologizing to her and sleepwalking. What in the world actually happened last night? As he's talking, he rests his hand on her suitcase, and with a clumsy move, sends it crashing to the floor. Her luggage bursts open, spilling all her secrets. She curses under her breath, this is a disaster. She scrambles to pick up the evidence. But it's too late, he's already holding the suspicious-looking potion. He asks what it is, his eyes full of concern. It's the sedative she smuggled in, she has to think fast. She lies through her teeth, saying it's for vitality. He's not buying it, saying the scent is off. Just then, someone starts banging on the door, saving her from his interrogation. The chaotic banging continues. Some random lady barges in, screaming that Reina is no lady. Reina shoots the priest an annoyed look. She dismisses him, saying she needs to rest now. He quietly agrees and takes his leave. Finally, the door closes and she's alone. That was way too close. Hopefully he didn't suspect a thing. She goes to her vanity to collect herself. She needs a moment to breathe after all that chaos. She picks up the potion again, but wait. A strange warmth spreads through her body. This isn't a sedative. She starts breathing heavily, her face flushed. Oh no, don't tell me. She remembers asking her maid to get her something. The maid totally misunderstood, thinking she wanted to get close to someone. The maid thought she was trying to seduce the priest. God damn it, everything goes wrong when he's involved. So now she's stuck with a powerful aphrodisiac and no plan. But her problems are just getting started. There's blood on her windowsill. She cautiously calls out, asking who's there. Our girl is no damsel, she immediately grabs a dagger. She follows the horrifying trail of blood across the floor and finds an injured man slumped over her suitcase. It's Max, her former knight, and he has the audacity to call her pathetic. He scoffs, remembering her as the ever-proud Princess Reina. The nerve of this traitor, her blood is boiling. But now the mighty knight is just a bleeding mess at her feet. Our girl is absolutely stunned to find him here, bleeding out in her room. In her past life, she met him in the palace, but this is completely different. She reasons that this is a temple, he could have easily called for help. Which can only mean one thing, his betrayal started much earlier than she ever suspected. She lets out a heavy sigh, realizing the game has changed entirely. Putting on her best damsel act, she frets over his wounds. She offers to call for help, but he grabs her wrist with a grip of steel. He yanks her down with his remaining strength, shocking our girl. She struggles, telling him to let go, but he's too weak and collapses right on top of her. With him passed out, it's the perfect time for a little investigation. She gives him a wicked little smirk and gets to work. Of course, moving a grown man is harder than it looks. She struggles with his dead weight, complaining that he's too heavy. She finally manages to dump him on the bed. But just then, the drug she took earlier starts to kick in again, not now. To stay conscious, she savagely stabs her arm with a pin, the sharp pain cutting through the haze. The pain clears her head, putting everything in perspective. If he approached her with an agenda, he must have some clues on him. Time to go digging for treasure. And what does she find? A small pouch containing a golden crest. The design is strangely familiar, but she can't place it, so she decides to sketch it for later. Mission accomplished, she leaves him unconscious on the floor and gets out of there. An hour later, Max groggily wakes up. He's completely bewildered, wondering why someone was in this supposedly empty room. He then spots an apple and a note left beside him. The note says she went to get help and that he should eat the apple. He faintly recognizes her face. Still dazed and confused, he thinks she must be incredibly bold to leave a wounded stranger in her room. His stomach growls and he clutches the apple, his hunger winning out. He considers it for a moment, before deciding to make his escape. Meanwhile, our girl is taking an ice-cold bath to fight off the drug. This is torture, and she silently curses Mason for all this trouble. Finally getting out, she goes back to her room and sees that he's really gone. She notices he took the apple she left for him, which brings a tiny smile to her face. She then burns her sketch of the crest, her plans already forming. She can't wait to see her dear sister again. Over in the palace gardens, the original heroine, Caroline, is searching for someone. Just as the novel foretold, she's here to find the wounded knight, Max. She spots him lying in the bushes, just where he's supposed to be. Her maids panic at the sight of an injured man, but Caroline is calm and collected, ordering them to bring the medical supplies she conveniently prepared. The maid is baffled. How did Her Highness know they'd find someone hurt? Caroline gently wakes Max up. He sees her elegant court dress and immediately recognizes her as the Emperor's favored new princess. But her sharp, commanding orders don't match the rumors of a docile, gentle girl. Still in his dazed state, he believes this beautiful princess has saved him. He thinks a hypocrite like her might be easy to manipulate. She plays it cool, brushing off his concern. Max immediately kneels and kisses her hand, pledging his undying loyalty. The system dings, she's gained charm points and a random item draw. A prize, our girl is all over that. She wants her gacha roll now. The wheel spins and lands on a love-at-first-sight potion. Oh, this is going to be absolutely chaotic. Max swears he didn't save her for any reward. She offers him a place in her palace, claiming she's been lonely. He looks absolutely thrilled and accepts the offer. Our girl tells her maids to prepare a room for her new knight. She then decides she'll visit her sister at the temple tomorrow. Her mind is already on the handsome priest Mason. This is all part of her master plan. She clutches the potion, plotting to use it on him. Meanwhile, at the temple, her sister Reina suddenly sneezes during prayer. The high priest tells her to rest, her prayers have been heard. He's a little concerned about her health. He even suggests that Priest Mason should examine her. Reina panics and refuses, blaming a cold bath for her weak constitution. But as she turns to leave, the world starts to spin. And down she goes. Princess Reina has fainted. Someone yells to move aside. It's Mason, swooping in like a knight in shining armor. He scoops her up into his arms. The other priests are scandalized. This is a major breach of protocol. But the high priest just smiles, saying Mason knows what's truly important. Reina wakes up in her bed. She sees Mason by her side and realizes he carried her back. She instinctively plays dumb, pretending to be asleep. Then she remembers a crucial detail about their auras. Mason leans over her, thinking this is the perfect chance to test something. He reaches for her forehead, but our girl Reina is awake. She grabs his wrist, shocking him completely. His eyes go wide. Before he can react, she pulls him down and smashes her lips right onto his. She is not messing around. As they kiss, a sudden bolt of lightning cracks across the sky. Back at the palace, our original heroine sees the flash. She finds the weather a bit strange today. She arrives at the temple and meets the high priest. She's here to visit her dear, sick sister. Of course, it's all just an excuse. She asks if Priest Mason is available, claiming she has a delivery for him. The high priest points towards the next room, saying he's treating Reina right now. Our girl freezes in terror. Together, she has to separate them immediately. They walk toward the door. She throws the door open and barges in, screaming for her sister. The priest stammers her name as our girl collapses to the floor. But they're not alone. The sister, Caroline, is watching from the doorway. And a nasty smirk spreads across her face. This is the perfect opportunity. She asks her system to confirm the effects of a love potion. She's going to use it on Mason. Suddenly, a sharp pain hits our poor heroine. A dark energy begins to swirl, and a system message pops up just for her. The potion has been used and its effect lasts for 1 day. She recognizes that voice. It's the same one she heard right before she died in her past life. She looks up at Caroline, who's still playing innocent. A horrifying memory flashes through her mind. It was Caroline's system that killed her. Freyka is in shock. How is she hearing this voice now? She realizes with dawning horror that this time, Caroline's target is Mason. And just like that, the love potion kicks in. Mason is blushing, his heart pounding, while looking right at Freyka. The poor priest is completely overwhelmed. He makes a run for it, claiming he has temple matters to attend to. He literally bolts out of the rooms. But Caroline isn't having it. She runs after him, calling his name. He stops, asking what she requires. He looks so done with her already. She grabs his arm, putting on her best damsel in distress act, apologizing for her sister's behavior. All Mason can think about is the kiss from moments ago. He coldly brushes her off, unnecessary. He tries to leave again, but she won't let him. She gets desperate, claiming their father has a message for him. Freyka watches this chaotic mess. Is there some kind of reward for capturing Mason? She can't let her sister's scheme succeed. So she accidentally knocks over a basin of water. Everyone turns to look at the commotion. Our girl puts on an award-winning performance, collapsing to the floor looking weak and frail. It's nothing, she says weakly, I just lost my balance. She explains to a concerned Mason that her fever made her mistake him for a water skin. He rushes to her side and claps a hand over her mouth. Silence. He's completely flustered. How can she talk about that so openly? She notices his ears are beet red and cheekily asks if he forgives her. He stammers that there's nothing to forgive. Then he helps her up and drops a bombshell. She must nurse him personally and not leave his sight. Caroline is absolutely livid. How dare you make such demands? Freyka just leans into it, playing up her feverish mind. And the love-drugged priest just agrees, fine. Caroline is completely stunned. What just happened? The tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. She can't believe it. Mason always hated Freyka. She forces a smile and quickly makes her exit. The door slams shut behind her. Our girl finally lets out a sigh of relief. She separated them for now, but she needs to probe her sister's limits. It's time to figure out what Caroline's magic can really do. But she almost forgot, the very smitten priest is still here. She gently tells him she's fine now. You can go, she asks a little too hopefully. But his eyes narrow. You don't want me meeting Caroline, why? Busted, he's way too perceptive. She panics, should she tell him the truth about her sister? But the memory of her past life's betrayal is still too fresh. No, she absolutely cannot tell him. This secret is her greatest trump card. So she changes tactics, playing the part of a jealous fiancé. You saw through me, she purrs. Pulling him close, she tells him it's about her dignity and he buys it. Understood, he says, stepping back. He turns away, a grim expression on his face. Marriage was never an option for a man devoted to the gods. Our poor heroine lies awake, her mind racing with possibilities. She can't afford to be careless this time. In her past life, she imprisoned him while her sister was the picture of perfection, stealing everyone's hearts. The next day, Caroline is already working her magic on their father. She cries crocodile tears, clinging to him like a damsel in distress. The Duke is completely wrapped around her little finger, calling our girl Reina unreasonable. He's about to call the guards because this family is pure chaos. But Caroline stops him, playing the role of the merciful peacemaker. Just then her new prize arrives. Max, she calls out sweetly. He approaches with his usual stoic expression. She proudly introduces him as her new personal attendant. Then she suggests Max go to the temple to explain things to Reina. Max is not thrilled by this order. The Duke decrees Reina must kneel for 3 days as penance for her misconduct. He turns to his favorite daughter, asking if the arrangement is satisfactory. Caroline gives him a saccharine, sweet smile. She plays the part of the doting daughter perfectly. As her father leaves, she turns to her new knight. Does Max think me cruel? He knows exactly what to say, swearing his loyalty is to her alone. He bows, claiming others' fates are not his concern. Caroline is ecstatic he's hers now. She's determined that her sister won't steal him away. She gets uncomfortably close, asking if she can trust him. He agrees, of course. Max won't disappoint you, he promises, and we all know he's lying through his teeth. Meanwhile, at the temple, a nun brings Reina some bitter medicine. But our girl is built different. She chugs it without even flinching. She licks her lips, calling it not bad. The nun is totally impressed. A true queen has an acquired taste for suffering. Needing some air, she steps outside to think. She starts connecting the dots on Caroline's plan. First, steal affection. Then kill the Empress and rise to power over her dead body. But she can't just kill this new Caroline, she has to sabotage her missions. She remembers the system's voice when she died. These powers Caroline has must be mission rewards, which means mission failure must have a penalty, maybe even annihilation. And that's her ticket to victory. Just then, a familiar voice calls out her name. It's Max. He looks genuinely worried to see her. He rushes over and grabs her hands, relieved that she's safe. Our girl is flustered but plays it cool. Oh, are you father's night now? She asks sweetly. She keeps up the innocent act, all smiles and sunshine. She even asks him to tell her father she's praying for her brother. Max looks at this performance and thinks, what a pity. Then he drops the bomb. His Majesty orders 3 days of kneeling penance. The smile vanishes from Reina's face. She can't believe it. The weight of the unfair punishment hits her hard. Without a word, she sinks to her knees to begin her penance. She accepts gracefully, playing the part of a repentant daughter. 6 hours later, she's still kneeling, muttering about her father's blatant favoritism. The temple staff whisper about how pale and pitiful she looks. But Reina hears them and silences them with a single death glare. Don't test this, Empress. She decides it's time to pay her dear sister a visit. Standing up, she faces Max with a chilling new resolve. Max, you'll be my first test, she thinks. She's coming for Caroline's allies. Max has no idea he's become the first target in her epic revenge plot. She continues her penance, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. By the second day, Max is shocked. She actually knelt all night. She just smiles weakly, telling him to go rest. She's not a quitter. But he refuses to live. Watching you is my duty. Even while being punished, our girl tries to get the guard to take a rest. She reminds him that she literally saved his life. And it looks like her charm is working on this handsome new guard, Max. All our poor heroine wants is for her family to finally accept her. And she's not afraid to shoot her shot with the guard either. Max is completely stunned by her bold confession, but he shuts her down cold, telling her to mind her words. Our girl looks completely heartbroken by the rejection. The pain and exhaustion are too much, and she finally collapses. But a strong hand reaches out to catch her just in time. It's Max, and he's internally cursing himself for being such a hypocrite. Just then, the male lead priest Mason and his aide happen to walk by. The aide explains Reina is being punished for failing to protect her precious sister Caroline. Max holds our unconscious heroine protectively in his arms. The priest and his aide can only stare at the dramatic scene. Mason finds the handsome guard completely unfamiliar. His aide starts to remind him that he'd know all the guards, before remembering Mason's past life serving in the royal court. But Mason is still fixated on this mysterious new guard. His aide reveals the guard is a special messenger from the king himself. But Mason turns his back on the whole situation, coldly saying there's no need to interfere. Meanwhile, in Prince Landon's chambers, the mood is grim. The king and priest Mason are watching over the sick prince. Mason reveals that Reina's prayers actually worked and the prince is recovering. The king is overjoyed and Landon slowly begins to wake up. He looks around, dazed and confused by what's happening. The first thing he asks is for his sister, Reina. But Mason drops the bomb. She's still being punished for his sake and has been kneeling on the cold stone path all night long. Landon is utterly shocked that she would suffer so much just for him. Over in Caroline's chambers, she gets news of Landon's recovery. She's getting dolled up in a lavish dress to go see him. Her maid asks if she'll pay her brother a visit. But Caroline is ice cold, calling him an unimportant cannon fodder from the novel. Hold up, then she hears that Priest Mason is there, and her entire demeanor changes in a chaotic flash. She bolts out the door, desperate to see the handsome priest. Back with Landon, the king is trying to justify Reina's brutal punishment. He spins a ridiculous tale about how Caroline was bullied by our girl. Landon seems to accept this, thinking how useless his sister is. The king mishears him and snaps, but Landon quickly covers his tracks. He dismisses his father, telling him to go get some rest. The king and his entourage finally take their leave. As they go, Mason brings up lifting Reina's punishment. The king casually agrees, as if it's no big deal at all. Mason bows, having got exactly what he wanted. But just as he's about to leave, Landon calls out his name. The supposedly weak prince stands up from his bed, looking perfectly fine. Just then, Caroline arrives in all her glory, only to find Mason is already gone. Landon immediately confronts her about her fake friendship with Reina. He calls her out for drooling over her own sister's ex-fiancé. Caroline tries to play dumb, but she's totally been caught. Landon loses it, slamming his hand against the wall right next to her head. He's got her trapped and he does not look happy at all. He shoves her away from him, completely losing his temper. She stumbles backwards, shocked by his sudden aggression. Caroline is left sprawling on the floor, staring up at the brother she so carelessly dismissed. The spoiled brat starts screaming at her brother, Landon. Our girl flinches, remembering this chaotic scene from the novel. Suddenly, she's drenched in water. She remembers Landon was a two-faced bully, especially to her. In public, he was an angel, so no one ever believed her. She confronts him about pushing her into a lake, and he gives a fake apology. But then he grabs her, his smile turning sinister. His eyes are wild as he calls this punishment. The scene shifts to our poor heroine, Reina, kneeling in the scorching sun. She's been forced to kneel for hours, and her legs are killing her. Her knees are screaming in protest. She fumes, thinking how her rival Caroline used the emperor's favor to punish her. That snake played the victim card perfectly. She realizes the only one who won in that conflict was Mason. Just then, a figure approaches her. It's the priest, looking annoyingly pristine. She inwardly scoffs at his perfect appearance. He brings good news: her punishment has been lifted. Our girl is absolutely ecstatic, but when she tries to stand, her legs buckle underneath her. Two sets of arms immediately catch her. The priest tells her to go rest. Then he orders the knight Max to report back to Princess Caroline. Reina is floored. Max is Caroline's subordinate. She feels utterly betrayed, having confided in him like a friend. Max looks pale and guilty, clutching his chest. Reina panics, thinking she hurt him. He reassures her and confirms he now serves the princess. As a peace offering, he gives her ointment for her knees. She decides to forgive him, but only for the ointment. The priest watches, realizing Max was just playing weak for her sympathy. Reina turns on him, demanding to know why he's following her. She's had enough of his lurking. He asks why she acted so vulnerable, and she just says, because I felt like it. What a savage queen, she dares him to expose her. He looks conflicted, asking what she truly wants. She gets right in his personal space, calling him her caring ex-fiancé. He leans in, calling her trick boring and predictable. He even teases her about how she used to blush. He tells her to be serious, reminding her they are in a temple. She waves him off, saying her plans don't concern him. But then she immediately backtracks, realizing she needs his help. It's for the upcoming blessing ceremony, and it's important. He's not buying it and grabs her arm, his patience wearing thin. Our girl panics internally. He's way too perceptive. He's tired of the lies and wants to ease his suspicions. He gives her an ultimatum: come to his room at 10 tonight alone. You're here, says the old man as Priest Mason arrives for his pickup. He's grabbing the usual monthly medicinal supplies for the temple. This month, a batch includes extra fever-reducing agents. As Mason is about to leave, another customer's order catches his eye. The pharmacist is bragging about a very popular stimulating tonic. On the counter is a small pink potion looking suspiciously familiar. A flashback hits him like a ton of bricks. Our girl gave him that exact bottle, calling it a blood-nourishing tonic. He snatches the bottle, the scent confirming his worst fears. It's identical to what she gave him. He grabs the pharmacist, demanding to know what this tonic really does. The man happily explains it's to enhance romantic atmospheres between couples. An aphrodisiac, Mason has been played for a fool. He storms through the temple halls, absolutely livid. He stops right outside our girl's chambers. Doors open, come in, she calls out sweetly, expecting him. She sits there in her nightgown, looking like butter wouldn't melt. But Mason sees right through her act now. Reina, what game are you playing? He roars. She feigns surprise, asking why he's so stern all of a sudden. He demands an explanation, his patience completely gone. He pulls rank, asking if she's questioning him as a friend or as the high priest. Our girl gets all dramatic, asking if he's going to expel her. His answer is a cold, hard yes. She drops the act, grabs his hand, and says she'll show him everything. She yanks him towards the door before he can even react. She warns him to be quiet as they sneak past the guards. The guards hear a noise but thankfully dismiss it. She leads him out onto a dark balcony, his confusion growing by the second. She pulls his own hood over her head. Put this on, she says, handing him her cloak. He asks where they're going, beyond the temple. He tells her to hold on tight, and then he just swoops her into a princess carry. Our girl is internally screaming. The rule-following priest is going rogue. He leaps off the balcony, landing them safely on the grounds below. She notes how agitated he is, and he doesn't deny it. He tells her he's uncovered certain truths about her, the jig is up. But she just smiles mysteriously and announces it's time. She gets his attention, a sparkle in her eye. With a grand gesture, she exclaims it's going to snow. He looks at her like she's crazy. But then he glances up and sure enough, snowflakes begin to fall. SHH, she whispers, the magic isn't complete. She predicts a cargo carriage will slip on the unexpected snow. Right on cue, a carriage appears, its horse struggling for footing. If you want to save him, she says, now's your only chance. His eyes widen with sudden understanding. He doesn't hesitate for a second, rushing towards the impending accident. He uses his holy power to stop the carriage from crashing. The driver thanks him profusely, but Mason shakes his head. He looks back at our girl, declaring that the man's true savior is Princess Reina. The man thanks Princess Reina for her help. She just smiles, radiating pure angelic energy. He asks if this is the magic she wanted to show him, her precognition. She admits she just doesn't want to die like she does in her dreams. The priest is stunned by her confession. She looks at him dead serious and repeats her fear. Seeing his disbelief, she scoffs, asking if he doubts her again. She turns her back, declaring that this is her truth. But he's not letting her go that easily. He grabs her, demanding to know about the potion in her luggage. Our girl freezes. How in the world does he know about that? She gives up the act, admitting she has to pass the trial no matter what. He smirks, getting dangerously close as he asks who her target is. He lists off a few potential victims, but our girl looks him dead in the eye and says, it's you. The priest is completely short-circuited. He starts blushing like a tomato, calling her utterly shameless. She lays it all out. Survival is her only goal, and he can either help or get out of her way. And with that, she announces she's going to bed. He watches her go, his mind racing. Finally, he caves, asking how to pass the trial. She immediately lights up, practically sparkling with joy. Later that night, she's blindfolding him in her room. This is getting spicy. She whispers that she just needs to borrow his divine aura for a bit. but he rips the blindfold off, calling it self-deception. He tells her he knows she dislikes him, but he'd still offer a hand. She swears this isn't some evil scheme, just a desperate plan to live. As she's about to make an oath, he suddenly grabs her and silences her with a kiss. He pulls her close, deepening the kiss with an intensity that melts her on the spot. He thinks to himself that one more time should be enough to pass the trial. The night gets very, very holy. After their divine intervention, he gently tucks our sleeping heroine into bed. She's completely passed out. He dresses and heads for the door, only to find another priest waiting for him. The junior priests are shocked, asking who broke their temple vows. Without a single hesitation, he confesses, "I did." The acolytes can't believe their ears. He immediately kneels, sentencing himself to 50 lashes. They try to stop him, saying there's no accuser. But he looks up, his face resolute, and says, "But I know." Meanwhile, in another part of the castle, a hand mirror clatters to the floor. A knight is kneeling in apology. A princess is absolutely livid, screaming at him to leave her alone. She can't believe he broke her mirror. The knight Max looks up with the saddest puppy eyes you've ever seen. She's completely flustered by his apology. She starts crying, saying her father sided with Landon even after he hurt her. She throws herself at Max, begging him for help. He gently tells her to rest, but she insists he must be tired too. He looks at her with pure devotion, declaring he is her knight. She hugs him tight as he whispers, "Your wish is my command." Our girl asks Mason for some bright ideas on how to deal with the trash prince. He gently asks why Prince Landon targets her in the first place. She grits her teeth, spitting out that Landon was just born wicked. A nasty flashback confirms it. He punished another girl for just touching his things . Our girl is fuming. Landon tormented Reina, and now that Reina's gone, he's coming after her. She's not having it. "I've got a plan," she declares with fire in her eyes. Mason just gives her a sad look and walks away, leaving her to her schemes. Meanwhile, at the temple's statue hall, a crowd has gathered, grateful for the temple's divine warnings. The people are full of praise and bring offerings of thanks. And look who it is hiding in the crowd. It's Reina, the original heroine. She's deep in prayer, chanting some mysterious words. A holy light begins to glow around her. She whispers, "It worked." A triumphant smile spreads across her face. The same incantation from her last life succeeded again. Suddenly, a massive bolt of lightning cracks across the sky. The crowd gasps in shock and confusion. Lightning in the middle of winter, this is unheard of, but Reina knows it's her power. She runs through the hall, feeling absolutely victorious. Passing the chosen one's trial will finally change her miserable fate. Now she just needs to find and thank Priest Mason. But no one has seen him all day. Odd, he always leads morning prayers. She wonders aloud, where could he be? A silky voice cuts through the air. "Sister, I've come to bring you back to the palace." She whirls around to find Prince Landon, the walking red flag himself, standing right behind her. She tells him to buzz off, but he just smiles. "Everything about you concerns me." He has the nerve to bring up how she prayed for his recovery. Reina shuts him down immediately. "It's Landon enough." She shoves his hand away, reminding him of their actual relationship. A flashback to him being an absolute menace. He literally pushed her into a pond and laughed. "Did you think you could bully me like before?" she seethes. Landon just smirks, mockingly asking if the temple has given her a backbone. He's furious that she dares to speak to him this way now. But Reina cuts him off, reminding him of his pathetic origins. She endured all his cruelty because she felt guilty for not protecting him. But then came the ultimate betrayal, a flashback to him framing her for their father's murder. He condemned us, screaming her name with pure hatred. She looks him dead in the eyes. "There was never any affection between us." He tries to save face, saying he'll leave if their father doesn't summon him. Reina's comeback is savage. "If you're just bored, leave." But of course, the drama isn't over. Our girl Caroline appears out of nowhere. She sidles up to Landon, dripping with fake sweetness. "Sister's changed, hasn't she?" She then begins to stir the pot, asking who Reina could be looking for. "Who else? Priest Mason," as she sneers. She reminds Landon that Mason was Reina's fiancé, basically calling Reina a cheater. But Landon's no fool. He turns on Caroline, his eyes sharp. "You're the one who urged father to recall Reina. Is Mason your real target?" Caroline is completely stunned. How dared she stammers. She accuses him of hiding their father's orders and asks what game he's playing. Then the horrifying realization dawns on her. "You hoped she'd returned for you." That was the wrong thing to say. Landon's mask shatters. He grabs her by the hair and yanks her to the ground in a fit of pure rage. She screams for him to unhand her in front of everyone. But his eyes are glowing with a terrifying light. "Naughty Caroline," he whispers, "you knew I was mad all along." Just as things were settling down, Prince Landon grabs Caroline by the hair. She begs him to let go, panicked that everyone is watching. But this psycho doesn't care. He grins, saying his father won't blame him for helping her. Just then, a servant calls out to them. Landon immediately lets go. He plays it off smooth, claiming there was a bug on her head. "What a convenient excuse, you absolute weasel." Caroline is forced to play along, thanking him through gritted teeth. As Landon walks away, she's left standing there, seething with humiliation. The look on her face says it all, this isn't over. Meanwhile, our boy Mason is tending to his wounds. He looks exhausted and in pain. A priest enters, telling him Princess Reina is here to see him. But Mason is cold as ice. He tells the priest her wish is fulfilled and she should leave. She needn't see me, he says, shutting her down completely. The poor priest is stuck in the middle of this royal drama. He has no choice but to agree. He delivers the bad news to Reina, who is crushed. He doesn't want to see me, she asks, her heart sinking. She tries to keep her composure, telling the priest she understands. She thanks them for their care and says she'll be returning to the palace. The priest looks on sympathetically. Back with the villains, Landon tells Caroline her chance has come. This is her moment to make Mason fall for her. She plans to use a love-at-first-sight potion on him. She follows Landon's lead, ready to execute her shady plan. He tells her not to disappoint him. Of course, she replies, a determined look on her face. They quietly sneak towards Mason's room. Inside, Mason is getting dressed, looking like a fallen angel. He hears a knock and says, come in, expecting the priest. He asks if Reina has left, but when he turns, he's shocked to see Caroline standing there. Just as this is happening, Caroline pulls out the love potion. At the same time, Reina is packing her bags, ready to leave. She thinks her business here is done. Suddenly, she asks her maid where Caroline is. The maid is confused. Princess Caroline came to the temple with Prince Landon, she says. She came with who now? The realization hits Reina like a truck. She drops everything and bolts. She screams at her maid to hold her trunk for her, damn it. That conniving snake is still pining for Mason. The system confirms her fears. The potion will make him fall for the first person he sees. Reina sprints down the hall, racing against time. She finds the room. She bursts in just as Caroline throws the potion. Mason is caught completely off guard. He feels the splash of liquid on his hand. Caroline leans in, ready for her victory moment. But Mason dodges at the last second. The potion misses him entirely. Suddenly, a strange sound fills the room. A tiny glowing bunny appears out of nowhere and flies right into Mason's arms. His eyes immediately turn into giant glowing hearts. The potion worked on the bunny. Caroline can only stare in horror. She screams for him to look at her, but Mason only has eyes for his new fluffy friend. So cute, he whispers, completely captivated. He gently holds the little creature, ignoring a frantic Caroline. Oh God, he swoons, how can the world contain such a perfect creation as you? He's totally, utterly in love with a rabbit. Under the potion's influence, the stoic lord snuggles the stuffed dog. The other noble ladies are absolutely scandalized by this display. But our girl is living for this chaotic moment. The potion worked perfectly. She suddenly realizes he's going to be absolutely furious when he wakes up. And he'll probably silence everyone who witnessed his shame. Time for a tactical retreat, she snatches the evidence and bolts. She successfully nabs the cursed puppy doll from his arms. He snaps out of it, demanding she give it back immediately. Just then, two priests walk in, completely baffled by the scene. Our girl shouts that there's no time to explain, just hold him down. The poor priests are like, hold down, Zaduke, what? Mason, still dazed, apologizes for scaring her. She yells for them to hurry. They finally tackle him, begging for forgiveness as he struggles. Something clatters to the floor in the chaos. Our girl lets out a huge sigh of relief. That was way too close, at least he's been neutralized for now. With the Lord unconscious, the priests are left stunned. She tells them she'll hide the dog so he won't see it when he wakes up. The priest is just trying to process how a dog even got in here. She quickly explains it's better he focuses on the dog than on her. But as they lift him, she notices something horrifying on his back. Wait a minute, are those fresh wounds? Our heroine is completely shocked. What happened to him? Suddenly, her rival sister storms in, crying out for her lord. She slaps Rene's hand away, ordering someone to call a physician. The priest immediately agrees, rushing to get help. The sister trembles with pure, unadulterated rage. How could this be? She starts yelling at her system. She screams internally that there's only supposed to be one system in this world. All her perfect plans are being ruined by Rene's chaotic energy. She seethes, blaming it all on the original heroine's plot armor. She then turns her fury on the red-haired knight, Landon. He just gives her a death glare, clearly not in the mood for her nonsense. She calls him a brat for just standing there gloomily. She accuses him of being provoked by something Reina said. He suddenly grabs her wrist, revealing a potion vial in her hand. He demands to know what she's holding. Back in the room, Mason has been put to bed. Our girl asks the priests why he was being punished. They confess they don't know the reason, only that he accepted it. Her heart sinks, she knows exactly why. He took a punishment because he helped her. She tells the priest to please not tell him that she knows. The priest nods, understanding her request. She asks them to take good care of him before turning to leave. But as she walks out, Landon is there blocking her pass. She gasps, completely startled by his sudden appearance. He just stands there, refusing to move. She tells him to go back, her voice shaking slightly. He smirks, asking why she's so nervous about Mason. You like him, don't you? He asks, his voice dripping with venom. Our girl snaps back that it's none of his business. He grabs her arm, his eyes blazing with anger. He shouts her full name, reminding her that a scandal would shame the entire family. Scandal, she can't believe he would accuse her of something so vile. Landon is completely losing his cool, clenching his fists. And then our girl does something absolutely legendary. She slaps him hard. The pure fury and betrayal is written all over her face. He's stunned, touching his cheek and screaming, "You don't understand anything." Our girl is absolutely fuming, catching this guy in her room. She warned him not to tease her again or he'd get the vase. He looks completely shattered, tears welling up in his eyes. But she doesn't care, she just wants him gone, screaming, "Get out." He reveals their father is letting her back into the palace in 3 days. But he gives her one final, chilling warning: stay away from Mason. Reina just clutches the vase, her resolve hardening. 3 days later, she arrives at the royal palace. A maid greets her, but a sickeningly sweet voice cuts in. It's her brother Mason with that snake Caroline. They invite her for afternoon tea like one big happy family. Reina plays along, saying she'll join them after she rests. But the look in her eyes is pure ice. What an act. She gets to her room and immediately starts preparing. She needs to get ready for the gods' blessing ceremony. It's her one shot. She just has to keep her powers under control. This time, she'll pass the test and become a candidate for the throne. First stop, the library to do some serious research. But of course, the terrible two are watching her. Caroline wonders what her sister is up to, while Mason has no idea. So like the stalkers they are, they decide to follow her. They creep into the library just moments after she does. Reina browses the massive shelves, completely unaware. She grabs a stack of books, ready for a long night of studying. But then she's spotted by Caroline and Mason. The librarian asks if she can help them. Caroline, with a smug smile, asks for the exact same books Reina just borrowed. The librarian hands them over. Caroline reads the titles. Law, politics, economics. She scoffs, how utterly boring. She slams the books on the counter, having seen enough. The poor librarian is so confused. Caroline just sneers, "Do I look like someone who needs to read these?" Mason looks puzzled. Why is she so dismissive? She leans in close, a wicked glint in her eye. He asks why she's so certain. "That's my secret," she whispers. The absolute nerve of this woman. Later that night, Mason is standing guard outside the library. He hears a noise from inside. It's Reina climbing a ladder to reach a high shelf when her foot slips. He shouts for her to be careful. She tumbles backwards, books flying everywhere. But in a flash, Mason is there, catching her just in time. He holds her close, a moment of pure chaos and drama. He stammers an apology, but she just looks flustered. Our girl plays it cool, saying she should be thanking him. He offers to get the book for her instead. What a gentleman, or is he? She wipes some dust off her dress, a little embarrassed. He waits patiently for her request. She asks for a legal textbook, trying to act normal. But inside, her mind is racing, she's plotting. After the ceremony, she's coming for them. She thanks him and 3 hours fly by. Our girl is passed out from studying. She stretches awake and sees Mason is still there. She's shocked. "It's so late, you're still here." He bows, saying he is at her service. But Renee's not fooled. He's her sister's man. Is he just spying on her? Our girl is burning the midnight oil, telling Max to head off without her. He asks if she's really trying to become a candidate for the throne. She's dead serious about it. And she's doing it so no one can ever push them around again. Her words light a fire in him. He swears to be the sharpest blade in her hand. He asks if she's sure, even knowing the chances are slim. But our girl just gives him a confident smile. "If you don't try," she says, "how will you ever know if you can make it?" And just like that, he is completely and totally starstruck. But back in her room, the evil sister feels a sudden pain in her chest. It's not a heart attack, it's a system alert. The system is screaming that Max's favorability is rapidly draining away. Diverting, her meal ticket is getting stolen. She storms out of her room in a total panic, searching for Max. A terrified maid tells her he's in the library. The library? She knows exactly who is in there, it's Reina. She fumes, remembering she was the one who saved Max. She was the one, and the sight that greets her sends her into a blind rage. It's Max, gently putting a cloak over our sleeping heroine. She absolutely loses it and screams his name. He turns around, looking completely unbothered by her chaotic entrance. The look on his face just screams, "What now?" He calmly walks out to meet her. "You're my knight," she shrieks, grabbing him. "How could you be in there with her?" He just deadpans that he was just passing by. Passing by, she's not buying a single word of it. He tells her to lower her voice because it's late. But inside, our girl wasn't asleep at all. She smirks, calling Caroline a witch who feeds on human affection. Savage. The screaming match continues outside. "How could you abandon me for my sister?" she cries. Max just repeats his terrible excuse. She calls him out on the blanket move. "Checkmate, my dude." She's about to ask the forbidden question, "Don't tell me you like." He cuts her off with a death glare, warning her to choose her next words carefully. She's shocked into silence. And of course, another system alert. Favorability is in a nosedive. Time for some serious damage control. She grabs his arm, apologizing. She plays the understanding princess, saying he should have friends. She even offers to go apologize to Reina. The acting is top tier. She puts on her best fake crying face, but he stops her. She turns, looking absolutely pitiful. What's wrong? She asks, worried her crocodile tears aren't working. But then he drops a bombshell, he will only ever serve her. Her mood flips in a nanosecond, really. He confirms it, playing the part of the loyal knight perfectly. He offers to escort her back to her room. She wishes him good night, completely smitten and back on cloud nine. He watches her door close. The second she's gone, the mask drops and he lets out a heavy sigh. He remembers her accusations, don't tell me you like. And he thinks of himself covering a sleeping Reina. He scoffs, don't be ridiculous. He clutches his head, reminding himself to stay focused. Don't forget why you came here, Max. A voice echoes through the grand hall, asking if the divine ritual is ready. And our handsome priest Mason confirms that everything is prepared. The Pope asks if his wounds have healed. Mason just says, you already know. He looks a little tense, clearly still recovering from something. The Pope praises him for correcting his mistakes, which puts his mind at ease. But Mason insists his own power was just lacking and the real test hasn't come yet. The Pope agrees, reminding him there's always more training to be done. Just then, an attendant announces that the royal children have arrived. Our girl, Princess Reina, steps out of the carriage looking absolutely stunning. She gives Mason a subtle, knowing nod, oh, the tension. But the Pope immediately warns Mason, do not develop feelings for the royals. He claims it would drag the entire temple down to hell with him. Yikes. The Pope puts on a pleasant face and welcomes the three siblings. Our girl's sister, Caroline, whispers that today's ritual will be fine. She says Reina will definitely become a candidate for the throne. How supportive. Not. She turns to her brother Landon, fishing for compliments about Reina's hard work. Landon just smiles smugly. If she wants the throne, he says, then she becomes my rival. But our girl is ready with a savage comeback. May the best person win. She looks him dead in the eye and adds, you mean me? Oof, Caroline is completely stunned by this display of confidence. She panics, wondering if Reina has discovered her secret schemes. She glares at our girl's back, thinking, whatever you know, it ends today. And in her mind, she gives a terrifying command to her secret system. Erase Reina Freca's trait of being God-blessed as the heroine. The audacity, she snapped out of her evil plotting when a priest calls her name. She quickly plays it off, pretending she was just distracted thinking about her father. The young priest totally buys her sweet and innocent act. It's time, the divine blessing ritual is about to begin. The priest announces that Lord Mason will be presiding. First up is the golden boy, Prince Landon. Mason asks him to place his hand on the covered orb and pray. He lifts the cloth, and the crystal orb immediately begins to shine with a brilliant green light. Our girl isn't surprised. In her past life, Landon always passed the ritual. Caroline leans in, fake concern dripping from her voice. Sister, are you nervous? Reina says of course she is, since passing means getting into the academy. The snake smirks, saying if she fails, all her studying will be for nothing. Then Princess Caroline's name is called. Our girl gives her a chilly smile. Landon and I will wait for you at the academy. Caroline puts on her best holy maiden act, clasping her hands in prayer. She places her hand on the orb, but nothing happens, it's completely dark. She feigns disappointment, but inside she's starting to freak out. How could this be? She thinks, her plan already going sideways. She's in absolute shock, this was not supposed to happen. Mason coldly informs her that she did not pass. Impossible, in the original novel she passed. She knows someone must be deliberately messing with her. Her crazed eyes land on our girl, it must be her. The priest tells her to step back, but Caroline has completely lost it. She's not about to accept this failure. In a chaotic move, she grabs Reina's arm. She drags our poor heroine forward, shouting, if you don't believe me, have my sister try. She forces our girl's hand down onto the crystal orb. And the moment she touches it, the orb explodes with blinding light. Caroline's face says it all, utter disbelief and terror. What is happening? The priest is absolutely floored by the orb's power. This level of radiance could rival even Lord Mason. But across the room, Caroline is having a full-blown meltdown. How is this possible? She clearly erased Reina's divine trait. The priest makes the official announcement, Princess Reina has passed the divine blessing. Our girl stands there looking every bit the victor she is. The crowd goes wild, amazed by her power. They whisper that her light is even more dazzling than the crown prince's. One noble lady throws some epic shade at Caroline, telling her she'll see her at the academy. The whole room starts laughing at Caroline's spectacular failure. The priest, having had enough of her nonsense, literally screams for her to get out. Reina watches her sister get dragged out, not a single emotion on her face. A noble lady swoons over Reina, saying the gods must truly favor her. Our girl plays the part of the gracious winner perfectly. She even pretends to be worried about Caroline, cementing her good girl image. Meanwhile, Caroline is losing her mind in the hallway, screaming for her system. She demands to know why Reina could still pass when her God-blessed trait was erased. The system coldly informs her the tool worked perfectly. Reina has no trait. Caroline's face twists in rage. The system suggests Reina is drawing on some kind of external power. This wasn't how it went in the novel. But the system drops a bomb. Caroline's own trait has decayed due to Max's favorability dropping. She is horrified. Does this mean more of her powers will be taken away from her? The system offers zero comfort, just a warning about unpredictable risks. Caroline throws a tantrum about how unfair it all is. But the system gives the coldest reply ever. There's no free lunch host. It just tells her to keep trying. Oof. Little does she know, our girl Reina was just outside. She came for the drama and got a whole earful of system talk. But her eavesdropping is cut short when she spots him. Lord Mason, looking annoyingly handsome as always. Just then she hears Caroline coming back and panics. She grabs Mason's arm and yanks him into a nearby room. She slams the door shut and claps a hand over his mouth. They're pressed together behind the door in the most chaotic, romantic trope way possible. Reina listens intently, wondering if Caroline's footsteps have faded. She's so close she can feel his body heat. And wait, is the holy priest blushing? Finally, the coast is clear. Reina lets go, apologizing for her sudden panic attack. She moves to leave. But he stops her. Mason grabs her hand, his expression serious. He asks if she heard Caroline's unhinged rant. He says the royal family's business is none of his concern. But Reina calls him on his bluff immediately. He wouldn't have cared if that fake object had chosen Caroline. Mason's eyes turn cold. Fake is fake, he says. It can't become real. Reina flinches. Is he calling her a fraud? He quickly tries to explain himself, but she cuts him off, saying she's just stating facts. He reminds her of the foresight she showed him. She said she would die if she failed. Now that the danger has passed, he asks her what she truly wants. Our girl is stunned into silence. He congratulates her on getting her wish and turns to leave. As he walks away, his question echoes in her mind. What does she truly want? She wants to expose the impostor inhabiting her sister's body. She wants to survive and escape the tragic fate of her previous life. And she wants the throne. She's going to fight for it with everything she has. But her train of thought is broken by a voice. She whirls around, startled. A man and a woman are standing there, asking who she is. The man she saved from the carriage approaches with a basket of apples. He heard she'd be at the temple and came to thank her properly. He gushes that he wouldn't be alive if it weren't for her kindness. Then a little boy shyly offers a gift from the orphans. It's a small handmade doll, a token of their affection. Our girl is completely stunned. People actually like her. The man confirms it. They were overjoyed she passed the ritual. He even blesses her, saying she'll be a great ruler. She stands there completely lost in thought. This small act of kindness is so alien to her. All she remembers from her past life is hatred. The crowd screaming for her to die a horrible death. She wonders what made her so cruel back then. And she realizes it wasn't just the betrayals she suffered. Without a second thought, she takes a huge bite of an apple. She doesn't care that it's unwashed, a small smile gracing her lips. It's the sweetest thing she's ever tasted, and she tells the boy she likes it very much. But of course, a happy moment can't last. Her snake of a brother Landon was watching the whole time. He remarks on her good mood, but she's already behind him with a savage comeback. He pretends to be hurt by her words, the little actor. The court gossips are shocked to see the rival siblings talking. Our girl tells him to stop worrying about her and start worrying about the day his true nature is exposed. She knows he's a devil hiding behind an angel's face. She calls him a white-eyed wolf and his mask finally cracks. He sputters that she doesn't understand anything. But our girl is done playing nice. From now on, they are rivals for the throne. And she makes it crystal clear that only she is fit to rule. Landon is seething, vowing that not even she can stop him. She just gives him a serene, knowing smile. May the best person win, she says before walking away like a queen. Landon is left stewing in his own rage. Later, his buddies try to cheer him up, congratulating him on passing the ritual. He agrees to go for celebratory drinks, flashing a fake smile. At the tavern, everyone is having a good time. Everyone except Landon, who broods by himself. A random woman sees her chance and slides up to him. She offers him some company, getting way too close for comfort. When she tries to feed him, his patience snaps. He shoves her away with brutal force. She cries out that he hurt her. His eyes turn cold as he grabs her, his friendly facade completely gone. The tavern goes quiet at the sudden commotion. The woman is on the floor, absolutely terrified. You talk too much, he hisses, his voice dripping with venom. He grabs her jaw, silencing her whimpers. The crowd just watches in stunned silence. He wipes his hand clean and tells his friends it's nothing. He says he's heading back, leaving them to handle things. On his way back, a servant informs him the emperor is waiting. Landon just dismisses him coolly. He arrives at his mother's door, calling out to her. But the only greeting he receives is a hard slap across the face. The empress lays into Landon, telling him he's getting full of himself. She reminds him he'd still be a nobody if she hadn't saved him from the cold palace. He kneels, forced to thank her for her so-called kindness. She keeps twisting the knife, saying he's out partying while his sister is studying. Apparently, Reina is just earning praise left and right. The Empress gets right in his face, threatening to expose him if he doesn't obey her. Defeated, Landon can only agree. She pats him on the shoulder like a dog, calling him a good child. With a final chilling "don't let me down," she sweeps out of the room. The door thuds shut. Landon collapses against the wall, utterly broken. His mother's words echo in his mind. She reminded him how easy it would be for him to disappear. But he hasn't forgotten the first lesson she ever taught him. A dark fire ignites in his eyes. If someone is annoying you, just make them disappear. Meanwhile, our girl is buried in books. She lets out a massive yawn, finally done with one history book, with a mountain to go. She's feeling the students struggle hard. Reina asks the librarian for children's basic textbooks. The librarian is stunned, but Reina explains she never learned the basics in the Cold Palace. Essentially, our poor heroine admits she's illiterate. She's determined to learn everything she needs to rule properly. With great power comes great responsibility after all. Time for a quick stretch before diving back in. But as she stretches, a book tumbles to the floor. It falls open to an illustration that looks strangely familiar. She gasps, realizing she's seen that emblem before. It belongs to Max. She remembers sketching the exact same design from a pouch she found when she rescued him. This is it. She can finally find out who he really is. She bolts for the door but runs straight into someone. Speak of the devil, it's Max himself. He holds her steady as she internally panics. Our girl is blushing so hard she could start a fire. Thinking fast, she fakes a twisted ankle. He immediately blames himself, looking super concerned. She waves it off, playing it cool and saying she was just absorbed in her book. As he helps her, she points to her fallen book. He picks it up, looking at the title. He congratulates her on becoming a candidate for the throne. She tries to fish for info, asking what his plans are now. Does he plan to return home or manage an estate? Max just says it's his honor to remain in the palace, shutting down that line of questioning. Our girl accepts defeat for now. She says goodnight and heads back inside. Once she's alone, she clutches the book tight. She quickly flips open her own notebook. And there it is. The emblem in the history book and her sketch are an exact match. Max is from that asterisk family. The book reveals a dark and terrifying history associated with that crest. Our girl is horrified. Is this notorious family trying to rise from the ashes? A history lesson drops about the Ivor family. Once they stood with the emperor as co-founders, but for some mysterious reason, they had a major falling out. They broke away and founded their own rival empires. Reina puts the pieces together. If Max is from a hostile house, her past life's death wasn't so simple. The shocking thought makes her jump. She whips around, sensing someone watching her. Who's there? But it's just her imagination, or is it? She decides to head to bed, trying to forget her fears. Tomorrow is the first day of school. Meanwhile, her snake of a sister Caroline is plotting. She seethes, vowing Reina will never steal what is hers. Her accomplice says nothing, which is somehow even creepier. The next day at the Royal Academy, everyone is buzzing with excitement. Well, almost everyone. A girl named Alicia is throwing a tantrum. "I don't want to go to school," she wails. Her mother is not having it. She tells her daughter to stop being willful. This school decides who becomes the next emperor. This isn't just education, it's a political war for their family's survival. Prince Landon is the favorite, so the competition for his favor will be savage. Alicia finally gets it. She'll get close to Landon and trip up that woman Reina. Inside the classroom, roll call begins. The headmaster calls for Alicia Aries. Suddenly there's a shout, "They are here." Alicia takes a theatrical tumble, falling right into our girl. But Reina catches her with a smile. Alicia is stunned by her kindness and beauty. A red-haired boy watches from the sidelines, shocked that this gentle girl is the infamous Princess Reina. He smirks, wondering how long that smile will last. Reina just looks confused. The moment is interrupted by Caroline's sugary voice, "Sister." She runs up, fake pouting about being left behind. Alicia points an accusing finger. "Who is this? I heard only 2 royals were coming." Our poor heroine is totally flustered. The headmaster explains that Caroline is just an auditor. Nothing special, oof, savage. Caroline immediately starts her act, clinging to Reina. "Oh, I'm not here to compete with you." Then she drops the bomb, mentioning the divine ritual. "I was just worried you used some forbidden means to pass." The classroom erupts in whispers. Did she cheat? The red-haired boy is absolutely living for this drama. Reina is horrified by the accusation. Caroline leans in close, pretending to be concerned. Suddenly, a dark voice screams inside Reina's head, "Kill her." The command is overwhelming, pushing her to violence. Her eyes glaze over as she draws a dagger from her sleeve. Caroline screams for help as Reina lunges forward. The classroom descends into chaos. Princess Reina has gone mad. Run. Reina struggles for control, realizing this is Caroline's trap. Her sister plays the terrified victim perfectly. She even glances at Prince Landon by the door, who gives her a subtle nod. It was a setup. Reina tries to stop, but her arm swings down against her will. But at the last second, a hand grabs her wrist. It's Landon. He stares at her, his expression unreadable. He stops the attack, but the blade still slices into Reina's own arm. The pain snaps her out of it and she drops the dagger. But before she can fall, another hand grabs her. It's Max and he looks absolutely furious. Our girl can barely whisper his name. "Take me away from here," she begs. Without a second thought, he scoops her up into his arms. He carries her out bridal style, a knight in shining, priest robes. Reina trembles against his chest, finally feeling safe. Caroline tries to stop them. "You can't take my sister." Max turns, his eyes blazing with pure rage, and utters a single command: "Get out." He rushes through the halls, carrying our poor heroine. She's bleeding from the mouth, and he's in a total panic. But a dark voice echoes in his mind: "Kill her." The curse is trying to take him over, demanding he kill Caroline. He's losing control, but our girl shoves him away, sensing the danger. She pushes his hand off, trying to break the spell. He snaps out of it, horrified, and pulls her into a desperate hug. "Reina." But she knows it's not over yet. "Stop," she yells. As the dark magic surges again, she bites his hand. A savage but effective move. The pain jolts him back to his senses, his mind finally clear. She apologizes for the bite, but there's no time to waste. "While I'm still lucid," she says, "tie me up." He does as she asks, and she tells him there's ointment in the drawer for his hand. He insists he's fine, but she reminds him he just drew his sword on Caroline. There's no easy way out of this. She knows he's innocent, that he didn't use forbidden magic. She gets close, teasing him. "How noble siding with me, now we're partners in crime." He looks completely unamused. "Boring," she sighs. "You've already got a plan, don't you?" He just mutters that she was cuter as a child. Ouch. Suddenly the doors burst open. It's her brother, the Duke, and he is fuming. The whole court is with him, including Caroline, who begs him to calm down. Our girl just smirks, completely unfazed. "Quite the gathering, everyone's here." The Duke roars, accusing her of attempting to kill his sister and shaming the Empire. But Mason, the priest, grabs his arm, stopping him. "Your Majesty, she's unwell. The Duke is not having any of it." "Mason, how dare you?" Reina steps forward, still bound. "Strike me if you must," she declares. She says Mason was only trying to protect her from those who want to divide their family. "If you accuse me today," she cries, "who's to say Lana won't be next?" The Duke calls it nonsense, but he's hesitating. Mason watches, his expression grim. She launches into a tearful monologue about growing up just to earn his approval. "Would I sabotage myself with public murder?" The Duke is moved and orders the guards to untie her. The guards move in to release our girl. But Caroline panics. "No, I spent 20 charm points for this scenario." She lunges forward, screaming that this impostor isn't her real sister. She grabs Reina, accusing her of using dark arts. "Give back my sister." The Duchess steps in, warning that this scandal is stirring unrest. That's it, the Duke slaps Caroline clean across the face. The room goes silent. Reina immediately turns the tables. "Just because you failed the ceremony, you create chaos." Then she drops to her knees, begging her father to forgive poor misguided Caroline. She spins a new story. Caroline was only worried, manipulated by the enemy Igor Empire. Everyone is absolutely stunned by this sudden plot twist. The Igor Empire, what do they have to do with this? The Duke is completely bewildered by the accusation. Our girl explains that Caroline's presence triggered her violent outbursts. She recalls Mason mentioning a flower Vientiane, a flower that causes hallucinations and only grows on Igor's snow mountains. "How convenient," she says with a tiny smirk. Mason confirms her story is factual. The priest stands with her, giving her accusation weight. Caroline starts screaming, "What nonsense! I don't even know what the Igor Empire is." Her father roars at her to confess now. She's on the floor, sobbing that she knows nothing. In her desperation, she makes a fatal mistake. "Ask Max, my shadow would know." Max thinks she's a complete idiot. Reina points out he was Caroline's little stray. The Duke turns to the knight. "Is this true?" Max reluctantly says yes. Sees him, the Duke's command echoes through the hall. Our girl watches, a tiny, triumphant smile on her face. Her plan is working. Poor loyal knight, she thinks, what now? Caroline throws herself in front of Max, screaming his innocence. But then a guard shouts, "Report, we found something." The Duchess coolly explains she ordered a palace search, given the gravity of the situation. The Duke waits, his face like thunder. A guard presents a book. This was discovered in the princess's chambers. It's open to a page showing the unmistakable crest of the Igor Empire surrounded by black roses. Checkmate. Caroline looks up, but her smile is pure evil. "So you conspired with Igor." The accusation rings out. Reina colluded with the enemy. But while Caroline looks horrified, our girl is just smiling. The guard presents a notebook found in Reina's chambers. She calmly denies it, and the poor guard stammers. He corrects himself. It was seized from Princess Caroline's quarters. The system dings. Caroline's favorability with the Emperor is plummeting. She panics, grabbing her father. "Someone must have framed me. This isn't mine." Her father explodes. "Then whose is it?" Desperate, Caroline points the finger straight at our girl. She screams Reina's name, her face contorted with rage. But another lady steps in to defend Caroline's pure and kind heart. She begs the Emperor to save her, but he turns to Reina. "You're a resilient child." He leans in and whispers something to our girl. The tension is absolutely electric. He announces that Reina's warning helped them confirm the enemy's involvement. He orders the arrest of every single one of Caroline's attendants. Then he turns his attention to Max. Reina watches him, determined to see his true colors. Suddenly, an aide arrives with a letter from the south. The emperor mentions that Carter's business there is almost done. He plans to recall Carter to wed Reina. Mason looks completely stunned, but he quickly recovers, as it should be. As they leave, he asks why our girl was at the academy. He casually reveals he's the new herbalism instructor. Our girl's jaw hits the floor. An instructor. She flashes back to seeing him at the front of the class, and then she remembers her past life, her ex-fiancé Carter. She tried so hard to please him, but he always canceled on her. Turns out, he only agreed to the marriage because she looked like his first love. She mentally shreds the engagement letter. Wed him's never. She'd marry anyone else. Her gaze lands on Mason. Their eyes lock across the classroom, and for a second she feels a spark. She's totally blushing as he turns away, but she shakes it off. Survival is the priority, not feelings. Later, walking alone, a shadowy hand grabs her. It's a figure with terrifying red eyes. She lets out a scream. She's frozen in pure terror. When she comes to, a voice says, "You're awake." She finds herself in a strange room, and standing before her is Max, the knight who was supposed to be imprisoned. She demands to know how he escaped. He just smirks. "Or how I knew you orchestrated this." She tries to play dumb, telling him to let go, but he knows she's just stalling for time. He lays out the bad news with a chilling smile. He slaughtered every single one of the Emperor's hidden guards. Our girl tries one last bluff. There must be a misunderstanding. He's not buying it for a second and starts dragging her away. A subordinate reports the city gates are sealed, addressing Max as "Your Highness." The horrifying truth dawns on her. He's the crown prince of the enemy empire. "No more acting," he says, his voice dangerously low. He asks if this cold, calculating woman is her true self. The tears, the timidity, all an act to outshine Caroline. He gets right in her face, his grip tightening. "You ruined my plans," he snarls. "So I'll drag you to the Igor Empire as penance for my brother." At the city gates, guards are checking everyone leaving. They stop a veiled woman and her child, ordering them to move along. Someone in a cloak watches from the shadows, hiding his face. A knight warns the second prince that security is tight. Getting our girl out of the city won't be easy. Back in the room, Reina is on the floor, her identity exposed. The psycho prince decides he might as well just kill her now. But just as he raises his sword, a voice shouts for him to stop. The knight grabs the blade, questioning if the prince has gone soft. Owen is not having it. He reminds the knight who's in charge here. The knight coldly replies that he wouldn't go soft for a mere tool. Ouch, that's gotta sting. Sometime later, our poor heroine finally wakes up. She clutches her head, feeling groggy and confused. Her vision is completely dark, and when she tries to scream, her throat is tight and she can't make a sound. Pure panic sets in as she stumbles blindly. Suddenly, a pair of arms catches her. It's the knight. She tries to push him away, terrified. He calmly explains he's temporarily taken her sight and voice for their safety. Our girl is internally screaming. "This mad dog." He places a cool hand on her forehead. What is he even doing? He drapes a cloak over her, disguising her as an old woman. It's time to leave the city to gather herbs. Meanwhile, back at the palace, class is over. Renee's brother notices her empty seat. He cheekily asks their teacher, Mason, if he's worried about his sister. He mentions she wasn't in the palace this morning. The little pest keeps prodding, asking what Mason thinks she's doing. He even brings up her fiancé, trying to get a rise out of him. Mason is so over it, he just assigns the brat double homework. A truly savage move, but their banter is cut short. A guard rushes in with terrible news. The people of Blade have caused a disturbance and Princess Reina is missing. Both of them are stunned into silence. Her brother calls out as Mason immediately bolts. He doesn't even hesitate. He sprints out of the palace. His only thought is Reina. He has to find her and she has to be okay. He leaps onto a horse, ready to tear the city apart. At the gates, the disguised Reina is forced to act like a frail old woman. The knight whispers a threat to keep her in line. If she doesn't want to die, she'd better behave. But our girl isn't a fool. She knows leaving the city with him is a death sentence. She has to think of something, anything. The fate of everyone rests on her. The guard asks why they're leaving. The knight, playing the part of a dutiful granddaughter, says her granny's eyes are bad. The guard takes one look at the disguised princess and waves them through. But just as they're about to pass, Reina starts to struggle. She tries to scream for help, but only muffled sounds come out. Her hands are bound, but she's not giving up. The knight quickly covers, saying her granny has fits of madness. But one of the guards isn't convinced. Something's not right. He orders them to stop and bring the old woman over. Reina desperately tries to signal them, pointing to her clothes underneath. Suddenly, another guard panics. Prince Landon is on his way. They can't let him see this chaos. The captain orders them to get the madwoman out of here now. The knight smirks and starts dragging her away. She whispers in Renee's ear, "This is fate." Our girl trembles, realizing she's lost. The order's given to close the city gates, but a powerful voice cuts through the noise, ordering them to halt. Reina can't see him, but she knows that voice. It's Mason. He's arrived, looking like an avenging angel on his dark steed. The gates are ordered shut as our heroine makes a run for it, but her lady-in-waiting gets snatched by the scheming pink-haired wench. Reina screams Mason's name, her plan going up in flames. The fake damsel points to an escaping assassin, screaming, "Take him down." The poor boy panics, trying to ride through the guards, but the pink-haired snake stands right in his way. She grabs the reins, determined to stop him. Then she just yeets herself onto the horse behind him. Meanwhile, the real mastermind is having a tender moment with our priest Mason. Look at this snake acting all innocent. She's trying to get his sympathy. She even manages a pathetic little apology. "My lord, I didn't realize you were coming," she simpers. The guards immediately kneel before him. One guard accuses her of being an accomplice and wants to torture her for information. Our girl panics, thinking this is the end, but Mason just tightens his grip on her hand, a silent promise that he's got her back. As the guards yell stop her, she makes a break for it. Mason just watches with a smug little smile. He calmly tells the guards it won't be necessary. Our heroine runs for her life. Finally safe, she calls out his name, thinking she's still in disguise. She's about to confess everything, but he cuts her off, calling her by her real name, Reina. She freezes, completely baffled. He rips off her hood, revealing her face. His expression turns to pure rage. "How dare he do this to you?" He pulls her into a protective embrace. He gently inspects her throat and eyes, his touch surprisingly soft. Our girl is totally bewildered by this sudden gentleness. She tries to brush it off, but he insists it's serious. "I will heal you," he declares. And then he just sweeps her off her feet in a classic princess carry. She can only stammer his name, completely overwhelmed. But she closes her eyes, trusting him completely as a memory floods her mind. A flashback to her childhood, where little Reina is fascinated by a cicada. She manages to catch the little bug. Suddenly, a boy falls from the tree right beside her. It's a young, startled Mason. He shushes her, trying to hide. Turns out she was hiding up in the tree too. But the branch snaps and she starts to fall. He reaches out desperately to catch her, and he does, breaking her fall with his own body. He's clearly in pain, but only asks if she's okay. She offers to get him a doctor, but he refuses. He admits he wasn't playing, just trying to escape. His sadness is heartbreaking. A poor girl realizes his life might be even worse than hers. Just then, servants call for His Highness, and the boy panics. As a parting gift, she gives him the cicada she caught. He looks at it, a flicker of warmth in his lonely eyes. She promises they can sneak out and play together every day. "My name is Reina," she says with a bright smile. "I'm Mason," he replies softly. Back in the present, a priest delivers potions to Mason. He mentions that Her Highness Reina is missing and things are chaotic. Mason plays dumb, holding the medicine and hoping she's found soon. The absolute king of liars. He walks into a private room where Reina is waiting patiently. Though blindfolded, she senses his return. She's shocked to find her voice is back. He leans in close, his voice a low whisper, "I'm back, Reina." Mason gently applies medicine to our girl's eye. Her sash has fallen to the floor in their close proximity. She giggles, saying the gentle touch is ticklish. The tension between them is absolutely electric. He steadies her face, his voice low, "Don't move." Her heart skips a beat at his intense gaze. He stares at her, lost in the moment. Her own gaze falters under his. A magical spark seems to fly between them. And then he leans in for a kiss. She breathes out his name, completely stunned. "Mason?" Her words snap him back to reality and his eyes widen in shock. We flash back to Mason kneeling before a holy statue. A priest questions his sudden devotion. "You were just thinking about your fiancé." Mason remains silent, his resolve unshaken. The priest warns him that servants of the divine must remain pure. Mason bows his head, accepting the terms. He promises to bear the warning in mind. Back in the present, she calls his name again, confused. He pulls back, changing the subject. "I will escort you back." But our girl flatly refuses. "No, it's not time yet," she says mysteriously. Meanwhile, under the cover of night, chaos erupts in another part of the palace. A maid tells Princess Caroline that Reina has been kidnapped by Max. The maid is frantic, the emperor is furious, and Reina is still missing. Caroline scoffs at her father's blatant favoritism, but the maid reminds her, "You're the one who brought Max here." Caroline panics. This wasn't supposed to happen in the novel. She has to find a way out of this mess, and fast. She rushes out of her room, mind racing. She has a new wicked plan forming. She stops. There's still no word on Reina. A cruel smirk crosses her face. "Oh, then this will be easy." She gives her maid some sinister instructions. Just then a servant arrives. The emperor has summoned her. Perfect. She's ready to pin this all on her sister. She casually asks about her father's condition. The servant reports he's better and she feigns relief. It's time for her master plan to begin. She arrives to find the empress and her brother already there. But she notes that Mason is nowhere to be seen. Her brother tries to send her away, but she puts on an act. He scoffs internally, knowing she's faking it. Caroline makes a grand, dramatic entrance. She announces she'll go to the temple to pray for her poor sister, but the emperor is not in the mood for her games. He gets straight to the point. Did you know Max was a prince? He accuses her of being an accomplice to a spy. Caroline immediately starts her crocodile tears performance. I was deceived. She cries, beginning to spin her web of lies. Her brother is suspicious. Are you saying you and Max were colluding? The pressure is mounting. She swears on the divine that she's innocent. The emperor demands she continue her story, and she launches into a tale about how Reina and Max were secret lovers. She claims Reina was the one who brought Max into the palace as her secret pawn. The empress eagerly jumps on this. That would explain everything. She even suggests the kidnapping was staged by Reina herself. The emperor's face darkens. So you're saying Reina is the traitor? He asks if she's certain, and she claims to have a letter as proof. The empress is already calling for a punishment. Caroline can barely contain her glee. He believed her. She immediately switches back to the worried sister act. Maybe my sister was just deceived. Please give her a chance. The emperor turns to the empress for her judgment. And the empress is savage. An heir who sides with a foreign nation cannot be spared. Caroline thinks she's won. Reina, you're finished. But a voice rings out, Reina, what do you think? Caroline freezes in absolute shock. A figure emerges from the shadows. Her entire world comes crashing down. It's Reina, alive and well, with Mason by her side. I'm just saddened, Reina says, that the one who wants me dead is Caroline. Caroline scrambles, trying to deny everything. No, father, I can explain. But it's too late. The emperor delivers a thunderous slap across her face. His expression is pure, unadulterated fury. You have truly disappointed me, he roars. She pleads, you can't just believe her side of the story. He coldly tells her this isn't some childish game for attention. Reina calmly explains the entire situation. I was the bait to lure out the spy, but you accused me of colluding. She leans in, whispering the final, devastating blow. This round you lose. And a system window pops up. Favorability has hit 0. Punishment is coming. Our poor girl panics. Reina knows her secret identity. She makes a run for it, not going down without a fight. She screams that she belongs here, that this is her life now. She even tries to order the guards around. Bold move, sis. But a holy power descends, zapping her on the spot. The guards are stunned. A searing pain rips through her as the original soul speaks out. Reina stands there, channeling her power like a total queen. She's trying to literally exorcise the foreign soul from her sister's body. And for a moment it works. The real Caroline appears, calling for her sister. The emperor completely loses it, screaming about divine punishment. But Reina cradles her sister, yelling that this is her own doing. Turns out this was all part of a master plan. Reina reveals she replaced parts of her dress with iron wires. She then secretly planted those wires on Max's clothes. It was a genius move to track him. As he fled, he would have no idea he was now a walking beacon. Whether he gets away or not, Reina leaves that up to fate. What a savage. The emperor is impressed and orders the guards to move out. He declares he'll lead the chase himself. The man is on a mission to bring Max back. And just like that, they're gone. Reina finally lets out a breath she's been holding, but a hand stops her. It's the high priest. He gently tells her she's not going anywhere. He reminds her that she's still injured and needs to rest. He holds her close, whispering that an empress can never show weakness. Reina takes her unconscious sister to a room to recover. The high priest confirms Caroline's body is fine. She's not seriously hurt and just needs to wake up on her own. As he's about to leave, he pauses. He asks about the prophetic dream she once told him about. Reina is shocked he even remembers it. Then he drops the bomb. In your dreams, how did you die? She feels a phantom pain, remembering being stabbed by someone she trusted. She dismisses it, claiming she's already gotten her revenge in this life. But the high priest is deeply troubled by her words. He remembers a prophecy about someone destined to destroy the empire. A person he was ordered to eliminate, but whose identity he could never find. He vows to find out the truth himself. In a flashback, we see him as a child, hiding under his father's desk. He overhears his father's conversation. He peeks at the star chart on the table, and his world shatters. The prophecy points to one person, Reina. Little him is horrified. He refuses to believe Reina could die. Back in the present, he realizes her dream of betrayal aligns with the prophecy. He stares at the sky, his heart breaking. Why does it have to be her? The stars themselves seem to bleed red, a terrible omen. From the temple, the head priest can only pray for the future. Meanwhile, Reina has fallen asleep by her sister's bedside. She wakes up with a yawn, feeling a bit groggy. She checks on Caroline, who is still sleeping peacefully. She softly calls her name, hoping for the best. Caroline's eyes flutter open. She looks around, confused and disoriented. Sister. She seems so pale and fragile. Reina bursts into tears of joy, hugging her sister tightly. The real Caroline is back. But her sister's embrace goes cold. Her voice turns dark and mocking. Reina, the transmigrator's eyes snap open, filled with pure hatred. She was never gone. The impostor shoves our girl, screaming, it's you. But the real villainess just smirks back with a chilling look. It's still me, she says, her voice dripping with ice. The body snatcher grabs her, demanding to know what she is. Give me back my sister, Reina screams, fighting back tears. The villainess just grins, enjoying her absolute misery. She taunts her, asking if she's heartbroken yet. Then she drops a savage threat about using her sister's body. If it gets damaged, her sister is gone for good. She even has the audacity to thank our girl for her help, admitting that the lightning strike actually made her stronger. She takes a step forward, full of dark power, and vows to make Reina regret ever crossing her. But our girl just slaps her hand away, completely done with this psycho. Reina, you lunatic, the impostor shrieks. But Reina hits her with a legendary comeback about lightning striking twice. You're welcome to try me, she says, her eyes blazing. With that, our heroine turns and walks away, leaving the villain fuming. She clenches her fist, the weight of the world on her shoulders. All she can think about is her poor sister. Meanwhile, under a starry sky, a desperate escape is underway. A knight frantically urges the prince to hang on. He blames some venomous woman for his highness's terrible state. The prince is barely conscious, spitting up blood and fading fast. His eyes are full of pain and confusion. He weakly wonders who the knight is talking about. His mind flashes back to a memory in a garden. A woman who called herself Reina offered to help him, but it was the body snatcher using her sister's face to trick him. In the present, he whispers her name as his life slips away. Suddenly, his knight screams in alarm. The horse rears up in a panic. They're thrown from the saddle, flying through the air, tumbling right off the edge of the bridge. At that exact moment, a volley of arrows rains down from the sky. Reinforcements arrive, but it's too late. Their leader orders his men to find the prince, dead or alive. Back at the palace, our girl is trying to study imperial law, but her snake of a brother waltzes in with bad news. Max has escaped, but he fell into a river and is missing. Reina plays it cool, asking so what, like a total boss. Her brother just smirks, revealing the real problem. The king of Ivor is dead and a new one is on the throne. And guess who it is? Max's full-blooded royal brother. This is chaotic and puts their family in a terrible position. He gets right in her face, trying to intimidate her. He offers a deal to save her. If she renounces her claim to the throne, he'll guarantee her safety. But our girl is not interested in his pathetic scraps. She'd rather fight for the throne herself. Without another word, she gets up and walks out. She runs down the hall, her mind racing in panic. Are the gods toying with me? She thinks, distraught. Not only did she fail to save her sister, now she's about to be dragged down too. She knows her father will hand her over without a second thought. She has to think of something, anything. She desperately tries to come up with a plan to survive. And then she literally runs right into someone's, Reina. It's Carter, her supposed fiancé, back from a business trip. He smiles, saying he was summoned back so they could finally get married. Reina is confused for a second, but then a light bulb goes off. Wait, this is her ticket out. She can use the wedding as an excuse to go south and regroup. She immediately puts on her best happy face. Oh, the wedding, of course, let's go. Carter is completely stunned by her sudden change of heart. As she drags him away, they run into another familiar face. It's the handsome and mysterious high priest Mason. He just stares at the two of them, a silent storm in his eyes. Carter immediately gets all possessive and pulls her closer. He thanks Mason for his help, but makes it clear Reina is his now. Our girl arrives to meet her fiancé, Carter, looking like a total queen. He's been lazing around in the south, but she's called him back. He has the audacity to ask if this marriage was her idea. She hits him with a savage burn, saying she'd basically forgotten he even existed. She reminds him of their last argument before he peaced out. He gets all defensive about the other woman, Delia. He claims his affair has nothing to do with their engagement. The nerve. She sarcastically apologizes for mentioning his white moonlight and gets right back to business. Carter is shocked. The old Reina would never have stood up to him like this. But our girl is done playing nice. She reminds him she's not just his fiancée, she's a candidate for the throne. He is absolutely speechless. She lays down the law, either he understands his place or he can get lost. Carter is left completely stunned by her new powerful aura. Walking outside, Reina sees a happy family and feels a pang of sadness. All this simple joy seems so far away from her chaotic life. So she does what any stressed-out royal would do, she heads straight for a bar. Meanwhile, our favorite silver-haired priest Mason is getting some bad news. Someone is asking for him outside. It's a panicked bartender. Apparently, Her Highness got completely wasted and passed out. Mason, ever the gentleman, swoops in to rescue our drunken princess. She is not making it easy, slurring that she wants more booze. He tries to get her home, but she refuses to go back to the palace. In her drunken state, she completely trips and falls. But Mason catches her in a heart-stopping moment. He tells her to get on his back since she can't walk. He kneels down and she practically launches herself onto him. He teases her for treating him like a horse. She just giggles, but then he asks if he should take her to Carter's house instead. The mood instantly sours. She whispers that she hates him. Mason is confused. Hate who? She drunkenly screams out every man she hates, wishing they would all just die tomorrow. He stops in his tracks and asks quietly, "Then what about me?" Our girl seems to sober up for a second just looking at him. But then she breaks his heart, reminding him she still has to marry Carter. The pain on Mason's face is just devastating. The next morning, our girl wakes up with a killer hangover. And who's there but Carter, acting like he's the hero who saved her. He has the gall to claim he was the one who dragged her home from the bar. He lectures her about drinking, pretending to be a concerned fiancé. She claps back, asking if he thinks she was drinking over him. He quickly backpedals and apologizes for their fight. He makes the lamest promise ever, swearing his feelings for Delia won't affect their marriage. Then he drops a bombshell: he wants to get married tomorrow. Our girl is shocked. Why the sudden rush? She remembers her past life when Carter's family fell into ruin. She knows a major incident is coming for his family. His life is on the line and the clock is ticking. So she puts on her best actress face, sweetly agreeing to go south with him. She lays it on thick, saying his family is more important than her father's anger. He totally buys it. Elsewhere, her brother Landon is raging. He's losing power to a rival and needs to find his pawn Max. He demands to see Reina, furious about her involvement. But a servant nervously informs him that she left with Carter days ago. Landon explodes. He had no idea this was happening. He completely loses it, realizing he's been outplayed by his own father. As he fumes, a voice calls out to him. He whirls around, demanding to know who it is. A woman in a red dress steps out of the shadows. It's Delia, offering to take the blame for her sister. A girl and her mysterious companion arrive at a remote. They ask for 2 separate rooms for the night. Reina is on edge. 3 days have passed and the Emperor is surely back by now. Her companion Carter says they should rest, offering to take the room right across from hers. They head to their rooms, but the moment the door clicks shut, the friendly facade drops completely. Carter summons a hidden subordinate from the shadows. The news is bad. Reina is caught in a political mess with a rival empire. She's now considered a discarded pawn, basically damaged goods. Carter scoffs, realizing she was trying to escape her problems by running away with him. And here he was, planning to use her for his own political gain. His man suggests just handing her over to the Emperor, easy peasy. But Carter gets a dangerous glint in his eye. He has a much better idea. Meanwhile, a messenger bird arrives under the cover of night. Reina receives the message, anxiously wondering what new hell awaits her. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the entire building. A girl is thrown off her feet by the force of the blast. She scrambles for cover as flames engulf the inn. A squad of assassins swarms the grounds, shouting to take her alive or dead. She trembles, wondering if this chaos is all for her. Carter kicks her door down like an action hero, yelling for her to run. Downstairs, total panic breaks out among the guests. It's a stampede as innocent people try to flee the inferno. He grabs her hand, but our girl refuses to budge. She can't just leave, everyone else will be slaughtered. Carter doesn't care about the extras. He points towards the exit. He tells her not to be soft, but she knows leaving means dying in the wasteland. With cold fury in her eyes, she declares staying is their only chance to survive. And then she pulls a literal gun from her dress. This changes things. She fires a shot in the air, silencing the crowd. She is Reina Freyka, a candidate for the throne. In this moment, she's not a damsel, she's a queen. She promises to protect them all if they follow her lead. The crowd is stunned. Carter watches, completely captivated by this new side of her. His subordinate asks what he thinks of her now. Carter smirks, unsuitable for marriage. No, she's suitable to be the Empire's. He sees the truth. Betting on a wild card like her could mean winning everything. The common folk immediately kneel, pledging their loyalty. Carter has made his choice. This is the woman he's backing. He declares he's betting his life on her tonight. She looks at him, ready for war. Our girl gives a confident smile. Let's do this. He's stunned, asking where on earth she learned to shoot. But her expression darkens as a painful memory surfaces. A flashback to her mother standing before her, the words, "He doesn't trust me," echoing in her mind. Young Reina screamed for her mother not to do it. But her mother held the gun to her own head, telling her to stay back. Her last words were a plea: "I didn't do it, I'll never admit to it." And then she pulled the trigger, leaving a horrified child behind. The trauma of that day flashes before Reina's eyes. Back in the present, Carter's men are struggling against the assassins. A goon spots Reina aiming from a second-story window. He shouts a warning, but it's too late. Our girl has her target locked. She channels her grief and rage. These bullets are for her enemies. She fires a perfect shot, taking down an assassin instantly. The attackers panic, realizing they're being picked off by a sharpshooter. This gun was her mother's last gift, and she's going to use it to become unstoppable. The people our girl saved are busy packing up to leave. But when they see Reina, they immediately run over to thank her. They shower her with gifts, little tokens from their families. Our poor heroine is completely swamped with food and presents. Her companion tries to tell them that's enough, but she won't hear of it. She smiles sweetly, telling them they saved themselves. As she's about to ride off, a little voice calls out to her. A young girl asks if she can serve her when she's older. Reina's heart melts and she gives the girl a warm, genuine smile. She tells her it would be an honor. With their goodbyes said, they ride off into the night. Her companion keeps staring at her and she finally asks what's up. He just grins and says he totally hit the jackpot. He's so glad that other guy broke their engagement. Elsewhere, our mysterious ML lets out a sudden sneeze. He asks how far they are and his attendant says almost there. It's been 3 days and he can't stop thinking about her wedding. He clenches his fist, realizing she's really getting married. He orders the carriage to stop. His guard is completely confused by the sudden command. But the ML is already out the door, a man on a mission. He puts on a mask, ready to cause some serious chaos. He tells his men to get ready to move and fast. His loyal knights are ready to follow him into hell itself. Back in the woods, Reina suddenly pulls her horse to a stop. She heard something and her companion is on high alert too. A flare suddenly shoots up into the night sky. They barely have time to react before someone screams, "They're here." An old man literally falls out of a tree right in front of them. He's screaming for help, yelling that they're coming for him. But it's a trap. The old man lunges with a sword. Just then, the masked ML and his knights arrive on the scene. Her companion tries to de-escalate, claiming they're just a married couple passing through. Reina whispers to him that these guys have backup, they need to be careful. She looks the masked man dead in the eye, telling him to do what he needs to. But her words have the opposite effect. Husband and wife, the ML's killing intent skyrockets. The distraction is all the old man needs. He grabs our girl. He holds a knife to her throat, threatening everyone. The ML immediately orders his men to stand down. The old creep smirks, saying he'll be keeping Reina for a while. He shoves her companion aside and bolts with our heroine. The ML doesn't hesitate for a second. He kicks his horse into a gallop, chasing them into the darkness. The kidnapper drags Reina deeper into the woods. He tells her he'll make her death quick, what a gentleman. He leads her to a hidden cave, welcoming her home. He shoves her violently inside. She tumbles and lands in a massive pile of skeletons. The old man is cackling by a fire, clearly insane. He starts raving that he's a god, a creator. Our girl is literally sitting on a throne of his past victims. The lunatic then grabs her gun from her holster. He points it right at her, wondering where to begin his sick experiment. Reina knows she can't just sit here and die. She has to get that gun back, it's her only chance. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes through the forest. The ML hears it from afar. He freezes, his heart dropping into his stomach. That's Rene's gun. An old man aims a futuristic-looking gun right at our girl's head. She stares down the barrel, absolutely terrified. A shot rings out, blasting past her. She stumbles back as the cave wall behind her explodes. The creepy geezer just cackles, boasting about his power. Turns out he's been hiding his little treasures here all along. And now he's found the perfect host to control, the princess's husband. He pulls out some disgusting mind control worms, planning to take over the entire empire. Our girl is screaming internally, this guy is completely insane. She didn't come back to life just to get taken out by a wannabe bugmaster. She has to buy herself some time and fast. So she puts on a smirk, calling his plans a small-town mindset. She asks if he really thinks that little pea shooter is enough to conquer the world. He flies into a rage, grabbing her hair. She coolly asks if he's ever seen a weapon that can blast a person to bits in one shot. He's suspicious, but since she's her asterisk daughter, he's intrigued. He leans in close, saying she has the right to know the truth. He makes a weird sign with his fingers. Suddenly, a bright light flashes and he screams. Our girl is knocked off her feet. In the chaos, she grabs the gun. The old man is horrified, screaming her name. He begs her not to kill him, trying to bait her with information about her mother. The word stops her in her tracks. But her rage is stronger. She calls him filthy scum. She turns his own weapon against him, asterisk bang asterisk. He screams in agony. He clutches his bleeding chest, shocked that she actually pulled the trigger. Our girl is ice cold. Of course not. She's not stupid enough to leave a job half done. She puts the gun to his head, whispering, "Just messing with you." He immediately starts begging for his life. But before she can finish him, another shot rings out. A mysterious masked man appears, shooting the gun from her hand. Our heroine is stunned. Oh no, what now? It's only then she notices she's bleeding. The first shot must have grazed her. The masked man stomps his foot, demanding that whoever is hiding come out. Our girl defiantly aims her gun, but her body is weak. He raises his hands, insisting they aren't there to fight her. She just smirks. Too bad, I already shot the crazy old man dead. The guy is surprisingly chill about it, saying they came to kill him anyway. But he adds that she showed up at a bad time. He offers her some medicine for the wound on her shoulder. She gives him a death glare, realizing her body is too weak to fight. This guy is sharp and she can't take him on directly. She knows she can't just let him go. He interrupts her thoughts, asking her to apply the medicine for him. What a strange request. He doesn't even question if it's poison, he just says his wound hurts like crazy. A tense moment passes between them. Finally, she agrees, all right. He leans in, gently applying the medicine to her shoulder. But suddenly his eyes go wide. Our girl slumps forward, collapsing right into him. It's a trap, she presses a cloth to his face. It's chloroform, a classic and savage move. He's dazed, barely able to speak. She smiles sweetly, telling him it's something to make him listen, and to keep her secrets. He's actually impressed, calling it a clever move. He agrees to her terms, not to dig into her identity. He stumbles back, weakened by the drug. Our girl breathes a sigh of relief, blushing from the adrenaline. Phew, that was way too close. But just as she relaxes, she feels something is terribly wrong. This strange feeling, she looks up in horror. The masked man is bright red, breathing heavily. Oh no, she realizes her mistake. Stop, she cries. But it's too late. He lunges for her, his eyes full of a strange desire. He's completely lost control. Our poor heroine panics, screaming as he pulls her into his arms. The spell surges and our girl lunges, tackling the masked man to the ground. Her mind is screaming no, but her body has a mind of its own. A chilling realization hits her. Something is terribly wrong. She's completely lost control, her body burning with a fever she can't explain. A panic scream rips from her throat. She's overheating, the world blurring at the edges. He grabs her and instantly understands the situation. This is no ordinary passion. It's a dark magic love spell. He remembers the forbidden arts hidden in the cave. And now our poor heroine is under its chaotic influence. The spell forces her closer, hungry for a kiss. He shoves her away, desperate to create some distance. The momentary break clears her head just enough to hear a familiar voice calling out. It's Carter. The masked man looks up, his own cool demeanor finally cracking. But the spell isn't done with her yet, and she lunges again. He barely manages to hold her back. Right on cue, Carter and his men arrive at the scene. They find one of the kidnappers dead on the ground. Carter immediately identifies the gun as belonging to the princess. Just then, another desperate sound cuts through the silence. Carter's head whips toward the noise. He squints, trying to see into the darkness, and the sight that greets him is an absolute nightmare. A masked stranger has the princess pinned against a tree. Reina sees Carter's boots and her heart plummets into her stomach. The man sees him too, realizing they're about to be caught. Be quiet, he hisses. You don't want to be seen like this. He leans in, his breath hot against her skin. Her mind is screaming he's way too close. So he does the one thing he can think of to silence her. As their lips meet, a single violent thought cuts through the haze. He has to die. He pulls back, the dark energy of the spell lashing out at him. But in that moment of contact, she recognizes his aura. It's Mason. The shock of it all sobers her instantly, and she shoves him away. He just smirks, the absolute menace. He explains he was just returning the favor since she was carelessly using a dark artifact. Now that it's been satisfied, the artifact has calmed down. He chastises her for using a desire-controlling item without knowing its power. Then he has the audacity to call this a trivial matter. Trivial? Our girl is about to explode. This thing acts up every 2 weeks. But she reigns in her anger. Survival is her only goal right now. And she'll use any means necessary to achieve it, including your marriage, he asks, his voice laced with amusement. Including my marriage, she says, her tone like ice. She tears a piece of her dress, offering it as a token for a safe house she owns. In her head, she decides to play dumb about his true identity. He accepts, telling her to come find him the next time the artifact flares up. Then he asks if she has a marriage engagement or someone she likes. The question throws our girl for a complete loop. No, she declares flatly, I will never have someone I like. But as the words leave her mouth, she feels a strange pang of disappointment. He leans in close one last time, his presence overwhelming her. I will be there, Your Highness, he promises in a low whisper. And with that, he melts back into the shadows. Seconds later, Carter comes crashing through the clearing. He's frantic with worry, checking to see if she's all right. He apologizes, wondering where the mysterious masked men went. She plays along, feigning ignorance about the strange new force. But her mind is racing. This is a side of Mason she never saw in her past life. A secret temple organization, it's all connected, she's sure of it. Carter, we need to go back, she announces, her decision made. He's stunned. Just moments ago, she was desperate to flee south. He tells her he no longer sees her as just a princess, but as their future empress. Then he kneels, pressing a kiss to her hand in a pledge of absolute loyalty. A bold move, Carter, a very bold move. Our girl smirks, good thing she's always been a gambler. Her resolve seems to please him. As a token of his sincerity, he pulls out a small, rolled-up note. His men found it at the scene of the fire. Reina takes the note, her expression turning grim. She quickly unrolls the scorched paper. The message is a gut punch. Caroline has been sacrificed and a state funeral is in 3 days. Her father lays down the law, you'll bear Igor's crime for her. He kicks her to the ground, spitting that if she hadn't colluded with Max, none of this would have happened. She starts crying crocodile tears, blaming her jealousy of her perfect sister. She clings to his leg, wailing that she just wanted his affection. But this is all an act as she internally screams, System, activate charm potion. Her father is suddenly stunned, a strange feeling washing over him. And just like that, the potion works its magic. He tells her to rise, completely forgiving her. Caroline smirks as the system warns her she has 1 month to repay the points. Now fully under her spell, the Duke calls her his beloved princess and asks what she desires. She immediately goes for the kill, suggesting they let her sister enjoy life outside the palace. Caroline's eyes gleam with malice as she suggests faking her sister's death to appease Igor. Meanwhile, our actual heroine meets with her ally Carter, who has a message for her. Our girl is not impressed, telling him his investment in her is about to fail. He hands her the note. They're holding a funeral for her in 3 days. She just smirks, knowing they're actually 2 days away. She's always one step ahead. She reveals a tiny pistol, ready for anything, as Carter swears his undying allegiance. He has complete faith in her highness, no matter the obstacle. He says they can delay the funeral, offering to get her a swift horse. But our girl has a better plan. That won't be necessary, she says coolly. She reveals a secret waterway to the capital and a fleet of ships at her command. A whole fleet ready and waiting. This girl came prepared. Even she's a little shocked by how luxurious the lead ship is. Carter explains he had to show his sincerity, plus this boat is crazy fast. He then asks the million-dollar question, how did she know about this secret route? Our girl pauses, a memory flashing through her mind. It was a desperate escape, running for her life with her loyal knight Max. She was injured, telling him to leave her behind and save himself. But he refused to abandon her, his eyes burning with resolve. He swore he wouldn't let her die because he knew another way out. Back in the present, she just winks and says she dreamed it. What a flex. The stress finally gets to her and she nearly faints, but Carter catches her. He calls out her name, Reina, his voice laced with concern. Suddenly, a guard bursts in, shouting that they found someone in the water. Our girl's eyes widen. She knows exactly who it is. Take me there quickly. Carter is left completely stunned by her sudden panic. And there he is, Max, unconscious and soaked to the bone. She stares out at the water, her heart aching for him. The guard explains they found him half-drowned on the riverbank. He quickly insists they didn't hit him, but our girl is just overjoyed that he's alive. She promises the crew a handsome reward, much to Carter's confusion. Then it dawns on him, this isn't just any man, it's Prince Max of Igor. Reina immediately orders him moved to her room. Don't let him die, she commands. Max lies in bed, lost in a fever dream. He's reliving that desperate escape, hearing her voice telling him to hold on. He's running through the woods again, her voice calling out to him. He hears her telling him to save himself, and a profound sadness washes over him. A single tear escapes his eye as he wonders who he's crying for. Just then, Reina opens the door as Max finally begins to stir. He hears her voice, the same gentle voice from his dream. A vision of her face flashes in his mind and everything comes rushing back. With all his strength, he whispers her title, Your Highness. He stammers, calling her Your Royal Highness. Our girl is completely floored, he remembers. She warns him they need to leave, Landon's men are coming. But he's hurt and she rushes to his side. Don't move, your wounds haven't healed. She freezes, how does he know about Landon's pursuers? He apologizes, saying he can't remember the specifics. Our girl realizes he's not just an amnesiac. He's remembering fragments of a past life. This is getting seriously fascinating. She glances at the bloody bandages. Max clutches his chest, wondering what kind of weapon did this. Our girl goes full chibai mode. Oh, those aren't wounds. She cooks up a chaotic lie about him being struck by lightning. He doesn't question it, only saying he's worried about her. Awa. She promises to always protect him no matter what. And just like that, the poor boy is a blushing mess. Suddenly, a voice from the door announces their arrival. They both jump ready for a fight. Who's there? It's Carter standing right there in the doorway. Max immediately shields our girl, going full guard dog mode. She has to quickly explain that this is her fiancé. The word fiancé hits Max like a truck. The shock sends a jolt of pain through his head. A memory flashes through his mind. He understands her plan. He's going to impersonate a missing prince. So the three of them get down to business. Our girl confesses the ugly truth, the emperor wants her dead. She's come too far to let it all end here. Max is worried, he doesn't know anything about this prince. She reassures him that it's fine, no one's ever seen the guy. With a confident smirk, she grabs his face. I guarantee you'll pass. He's completely flustered, but agrees to her plan. As she goes to leave, he calls out to her. He grabs her arm, not wanting her to go. He apologizes, looking like a lost puppy. Will you be on the boat while I rest? He asks. Our girl's heart just melts, of course she will. He only remembers her, so she's going to protect him with everything she has. She quietly leaves him to rest. On deck, Carter questions her, how can she be sure Max isn't faking? Her answer is savage, I don't know. Carter is shocked she'd gamble so much on a mystery man. But our girl is ruthless, he's just a tool as long as he's useful. Carter trembles, the Ice Queen is back. Soon they arrive at the capital. As they disembark, Max is rocking a whole new look. That includes a very dramatic fake scar. Carter tells him he'll just have to deal with it to hide his identity. Max is a loyal puppy, he'll follow her orders in everything. But as they walk, a horrifying vision hits him. A flash of a memory drenched in red. He sees himself standing over her body. He's covered in blood, screaming her name in his mind, Reina. He's holding her, begging her not to die. The memory is tearing him apart, she can't die. He shouldn't let her die, Reina snaps him out of it. Max, wake up. She asks if he remembered something else. He can't even speak, the horror is too fresh. Before he can answer, Carter warns them, Caroline is here. Caroline is beefing up security for Princess Reina's funeral. The irony is killing me. She praises the guards, completely oblivious. Our crew watches as their enemy finally leaves. But just as they relax, Caroline stops in her tracks. She turns, her eyes scanning the crowd. A system window pops up in her vision, target acquired. The order is given, the guards are commanded to take her down. From the shadows, the wicked sister Caroline gives the command. She must not reach the square alive, she seethes. A spear lunges forward, aimed right for our girl's heart. The guards grab her, holding her down for the final blow. Our poor heroine is trapped with nowhere to run. But just as the spear is about to strike, a voice screams, stop. The common folk have arrived, armed and ready to defend their princess. They declare she saved their families and they won't let her be killed. They all adore Princess Reina and they came to see her off safely. Why are you trying to kill her? They demand. Caroline is absolutely seething from the balcony. How dare these lowlifes risk their lives for her pathetic sister? Her father, the emperor, appears. He can't let this chaos continue. He dismisses them as rioters and announces his daughter is already dead. This woman, he screams, is an impostor inciting a riot. She must not be tolerated. The guards close in again, the people looking on in horror. Caroline smirks from above, she's won. Our girl looks up and calmly admits, it's true, I am not Reina. Just then, a hand grabs the descending blade. It's Max, he's come to save the day. A flashback reveals this was all part of the plan. Reina told Max he needed to infiltrate the Empire. He bears a striking resemblance to the missing prince. All he has to do is claim he lost his memory. It's a perfect lie since it's close to his actual state. He'll disguise himself as the prince to get everyone's attention. The plan works perfectly. He gets an audience with the emperor. Max claims he's lost all his memories except for his brother Igor. The emperor asks about the rumors of his disagreement with the princess. Max then throws our girl under the bus, asking if she caused his amnesia. Was I a spy? He asks, playing the part of a confused victim. The emperor is completely cornered and losing his mind. He can't believe this happened right after he settled the matter. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. Caroline whispers to her father, telling him to follow his heart, for profit. The emperor wishes Reina were still here to help him. Suddenly, he hears a familiar voice call out his name. Both he and Caroline are stunned, that voice. A woman in the crowd removes her disguise, it's the real Reina. Tell everyone your declaration, she says to her father. She reveals that her fake death was all a plan. It was a ploy to buy time to find evidence of Prince Igor's crimes. Caroline screeches, calling her an impostor and ordering the guards to protect her. She's completely losing it, pointing and screaming for them to seize Reina. How could I lose, she wails. But Reina calmly reminds the guards that Max is Igor's favorite brother. The emperor's eyes widen, he finally screams, stop. Who told you to lay a hand on her? Release my daughter. Caroline is in disbelief, grabbing her father's sleeve. But he just gives her a chilling smile. This was a plan between him and Reina. Children shouldn't speak out of turn, he says coldly. Caroline collapses, she's failed again, utterly defeated. The emperor warmly welcomes Reina back, his good daughter. He declares her the one and only royal princess. Reina smiles, saying she's glad her mission was a success. And then she drops the bomb, Max is indeed a spy. The emperor says in that case, they'll keep him as a guest for a while. The guards escort a confused Max away. But our girl looks on, troubled. This wasn't part of her plan. Max looks back at her, his face a mask of betrayal. Why? He doesn't understand.